What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 587 of #AskGSM here today for Tuesday. Almost said Wednesday. I'm still kind of stuck on the whole Wednesday format of the show. Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Hope you guys are doing well. The last time we were live here on the channel, I was ranting about The Rock coming out of SmackDown, a late night Friday night, Saturday morning stream. If you missed it, go back and check it out. Talking all about The Rock nonsense with Cody Rhodes, where I think it's going, where I don't think it should go, and a whole lot more. That was on Friday night, Saturday. Today we're answering questions sent in from Facebook, from X, from YouTube, also here on the air. So if you're joining us, be sure to join in the chat. If you got a question for yours truly, be sure to let me know in the chat. I'll answer it here on the air. Of course, if you're joining live right now, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for all the daily content. I would appreciate it. And if you are liking the video and subscribing, while you're at it, be sure to hit the bell button as well to be notified every single time we go upload a new video here on the channel and every single time we go live here on the channel as well. So I know Alexis is joining us. I saw her in the chat a moment ago saying, shush, my show is on. Alexis, always appreciate you joining. Much love, obviously. So hope you're doing well. So we'll be getting going here in a second. If you guys want to send in a question to the show, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video after we're done going live here to get your question answered on next week's episode. But like I said earlier, if you want a question to be answered during the show, you can drop your question in the chat, and I will answer it here on the air. So if you're joining us, like I said, I appreciate you, and I'll get to those comments a little bit later on if you join a little bit later on in the stream. So that about does it, I believe. We'll get right into the questions here, starting with Micah Does It from YouTube. His first question was, he says, struggling to figure out what to do with my favorite wrestler right now, Logan Paul at WrestleMania. And I don't know if he said that sarcastically or if Logan Paul actually is his favorite wrestler, but that's just what he said. He said, Logan Paul's not winning the chamber. I thought of a six-man ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. Logan Paul, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, Braun Breaker, Sheamus, and AJ Styles. What do you think about this? On one hand, it makes sense, just because they have teased all six of those guys interacting. Logan Paul and AJ Styles, I believe Logan Paul eliminated AJ Styles from the Men's Rumble last month or earlier this month. They've also had a few backstage interactions since then. I think maybe one on Raw since then, but definitely last night, I think during commercial. They didn't show it on Netflix for the US viewers, but during commercial for everyone else, they did show that backstage. So, and I've said AJ and Logan Paul to me makes sense as a one-on-one match at Mania. So that is an option. Braun Breaker and AJ have obviously interacted a whole bunch, including last week. Dominic Mysterio and Braun Breaker had a match last night. AJ and Dom had a match last week. Sheamus still has unfinished business with Braun Breaker and that Intercontinental Championship, even though he already has lost a few different times for that IC Championship dating back to November. He still would like another shot at that championship, I'm sure. Penta and Braun Breaker had that quick face-off a couple of months ago. Not even a couple of months ago. It was a couple of weeks ago. I think it was on the Raw right before Royal Rumble in a backstage segment that did not air for the U.S. viewers on Netflix. And Logan Paul has been kind of interacting, like I said, with AJ and not with Penta or anyone else, but you could kind of weave him in there after Elimination Chamber. Currently, he's got his sights set on winning that Chamber match and going on to face Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania, which obviously we know is not happening. Could you do a six-man ladder match with those guys for the Intercontinental Championship? Yes, you could. Would it make sense? Yes, it would make sense. Do I want to see it? No, I don't. I feel like if there's going to be any one multi-man match, and, WrestleMania tends to have multiple multi-man matches, I understand that. I do not want it for the Intercontinental Championship. I feel like it would be better, personally, if you have a one-on-one story for that belt, whether it be Braun Breaker and Sheamus again, or Braun Breaker versus Penta, Braun Breaker versus AJ Styles even, although I want AJ versus Logan, but Logan could face John Cena instead. We just don't know right now. We're clearly going to get a better picture and a better idea, a better understanding of what the WrestleMania card's going to look like coming out of Elimination Chamber. So with these six guys, yeah, you could throw them into one match. I just feel like it would be lazy, honestly. Like, I feel like if you're going to do any one multi-man match, which is what I was going to say a moment ago, if you're going to do any one multi-man match in Mania, for me, it would be the tag title match on the SmackDown side of things. Yeah, I guess you could include Pretty Deadly because they were kind of screwed out of their opportunity at the tag titles this past Friday on SmackDown. You could throw Los Garza in there. There's a couple different teams that you can throw in there if you would like. To me, I think DIY, the Profits, and the Machine Guns in a triple threat TLC match, which I've said before, we have not gotten a proper TLC match in WWE in, I don't know, maybe 5 years since the last TLC pay-per-view. And as I've said before, they've had TLC matches in NXT in the form of tables, ladders, and scares matches. But like as a formal TLC match, especially on the main roster, I don't think we've gotten one since 2020. We've had a lot of ladder matches at Mania. TLC matches are basically ladder matches, and you're just enforcing and encouraging chairs and tables as well. So I would do a TLC match with the tag titles on the SmackDown side of things. On the Raw side of things, I would just do a straight-up singles match for the Intercontinental Championship. I would do, of the 6 guys that you mentioned, I don't know if Dominic's on the card. I mean, you can't get everyone on the card. That's the issue. I'll go to the chat in a second, by the way. I don't have it open currently. I'll go back to it in a moment. I'm just finishing answering this question first. But, like, Dominic and Finn would make sense based on the tension they've teased. Does that really make the Mania card? Probably not. Honestly, like, that's the odd match out for me. AJ should absolutely be at WrestleMania. So whether it's AJ and Breakker or AJ and Logan, either of those matches work for me. You could also do Braun and Penta. I honestly don't think Sheamus makes the card. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think a lot of people are still holding out hope that Sheamus gets his grand Intercontinental Championship win at WrestleMania. I don't think it happens. At least not this year at WrestleMania. I feel like if they were going to do that, they wouldn't have had him lose at Saturday Night's Main Event, and at Survivor Series, and on Raw a whole bunch of times. Now, granted, Jey Uso did, he faced Gunther at Saturday Night's Main Event and lost. And he's getting another shot at that World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. So they could absolutely do it. It's definitely possible. I'm just saying, I feel like that ship has probably sailed for right now. So I would do Breakker and Penta, or more likely, Logan Paul and AJ Styles, Breakker and, I don't know, because I think Penta might still be involved with Rey Mysterio. I think we might end up seeing Rey Mysterio and Penta taking on New Day at WrestleMania. I think there's a pretty likely chance we get that match at Mania. Dominic Mysterio could face Finn. I feel like that match would not make the Mania card. Sheamus, I think, is definitely not making the Mania card. Unless they do a multi-man match for this championship, I don't think he's making Mania. Jump into the chat now. Let's backtrack a little bit. Alexis, sending in $10. Thank you so much for the super chat. Of course, Alexis, I love you. Thank you so much for that. He said, or she said rather, went to the gym after not being there for 7 months, and it was scary, but I did it. Have you ever had to pep talk yourself into doing something that you knew would be good for you in the long run? The funny thing is, and she said, I had to super chat because my message was too long, so you're welcome. Thank you. The funny thing is, she sends in super chats like that. She sends in, she asks questions like that she probably already knows the answer to because we've been together now for so long. I guess that's a good question. Have you ever had to pep talk yourself into doing something that you knew would be good for you in the long run? Nothing that necessarily comes to mind. I know that's not the answer that you're looking for. I mean, people in the chat, if you're joining live, be sure to answer Alexis's question. I don't know if I have a good answer for that right now. I'm not really sure. You sent in a super chat, so I probably should have a good answer for that. I don't know. I don't know what that would be. Having to pep talk myself into doing something that you knew would be good for you in the long run. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I mean, there's a little things on a daily basis, but nothing that really comes to mind as far as being, something super, important, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we all deal with that on a daily basis, so I'm not exactly sure. Daniel also joining us in the chat. Daniel, great to see you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Abu Sika also joining us. Abu Sika said, hello, friend Abu Sika. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us as well. Alexis was responding to Daniel's comment from a little bit earlier on. Nick also joining us. Richie also joining us. Nick saying, greetings, peeps. Nick saying, I gave myself a pep talk every day when I wake up and have to move off my bed. Or sorry, myself. It's yeah, exactly. I feel like we can all relate to that one. Richie said, hello, everyone. Hello, Graham. We are so back. We're back every single time, every single Tuesday, every single Thursday, every single weekend. Still trying to maneuver what the, Saturday streams are going to look like here on the channel. But at least every Tuesday and Thursday, I know we're going to be live every single week. Never have to, pep talk me into anything doing there because I love doing these streams. So I guess that's not really a. Well, I mean, I guess that would be one. I was kind of hesitant. Let's put it that way. I guess to answer Alexis's question, I was very hesitant to do the live streams before we started doing them. That was actually her brainchild. That was really her idea. That wasn't really much of a pep talk for myself, but I think that was kind of something she convinced me to try, and I've ended up really liking it. I think it's definitely better for the channel and just better to interact with you guys and stuff, so I guess that would be a good example. But anyway, Abu Sika said a little bit earlier on, looking back at the last stream, while you always use your fair share of profanity, which I have no issue with, saying Lola Vice... He said, well, you always use your fair share of profanity, which I have no issue with, especially on Friday, to be fair. That rock thing really pissed me off. He said, saying Lola ass shakes her ass too much was by far the foulest thing you said. LMAO. Yeah, it definitely got a little wild there in the chat on Saturday. But hey, listen, I just call it as I see it. That's how I feel. I know that's not the popular opinion. You may unsubscribe for that opinion alone, but I still do feel Lola Vice shakes her ass a little too much during her matches. If you want to do it before or afterward when you win or during the entrance, even then I feel like she overdoes it. I mean, I can't say she's done it a lot lately because she really hasn't been on the show a lot lately. But that's my hot take on Lola Vice. Anthony Brown said, do you think the president will be at Mania this year since he went to Super Bowl? No, I don't. I don't think our president is making an appearance at WrestleMania. Is it possible? Yes, it is definitely possible that... I mean, I think he was at some fucking hockey game, right? Alexis told me, not because, we support him. She had just said that she had seen him on a hockey game or something like that the other day, which, I don't know. I'm not getting into politics here, but that just seemed a little strange to me. So, no, I don't think we'll see Trump at WrestleMania. I know he's a WWE Hall of Famer, and he's hosted WrestleManias before. I do not see that happening. Daniel said, answering Alexis's question about the pep talk yourself, I would say going through the process of applying to grad school. You know what? That's a good one, actually. I was actually in the same boat when I went to grad school many years ago. That was not something... Again, I don't know if pep talk yourself is really the... right word phrasing to use. Sometimes you just got to say fuck it and do it. Sometimes you just got to be like, you know what, I don't want to do this, but sometimes you just have to do it because, it's probably better in the long run. I mean, again, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of uncomfortable conversations and stuff like that, but specifically stuff that you got to do. And I guess that's one of them. At grad school, I was in the exact same boat when I applied to grad school, 5, 6, 7 years ago, however long it's been. That was something I wasn't really on board with, and I'm really glad I did in retrospect. So I can relate to that as well, Daniel. Richie also said, whatever life throws our way, we have to try to see a silver lining in everything. Perhaps this 7 months was needed for you to start again, and this part of the journey will be better than the last. Oh, talking about Alexis's gym comment, because she talked about how she's gone to the gym for the first time in many months. And Richie also said, he's telling Alexis, be sure to like and subscribe, turn on the notifications. If you're just joining us now, first of all, thank you for joining us. Second of all, be sure to drop a like and hit the bell button if you haven't already to be notified every single time we go live here on the channel. But the thumbs up, liking the video is super important. So if you haven't already done that, I would appreciate it if you did. Millennial Noob also joining us, or Alexis asked before that. Also, Graham, I have a question. Should I change my name to Alexa? No, you should not. Did I say Alexa at some point, or are you just fucking bullshitting? Did I say Alexa by accident? I don't think I did. I never make that mistake. A lot of people do. You'd be surprised how many people call her Alexa. But Millennial Noob is joining us. And Millennial Noob, thank you for joining us as always, my man. He said, good morning, Graham and everyone. How are you doing today on this Tuesday morning? I'm doing well. Listen, I was coming into this stream hot on Friday night, Saturday morning with my rock take, so I was all fired up. But today we're a lot calmer, we're a lot cooler, and I'm excited for NXT tonight, which is why I got my Hardy Boys get up. I should probably point out my attire for every stream that we do. Today it's the Hardy Boy shirt, and I've told Alexis to wear her Hardy Boy shirt as well. It's the same shirt we got when we went to SmackDown many years ago, back in 2019 here in Connecticut. We got two of the same shirts. So she has one, I have one. I haven't worn this in a while, but we're wearing it tonight for the Hardy Boys being on NXT. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, so far, shaping up to be a good Tuesday. Abu Sika said, shout out to Alexis for the live stream idea. Love these. Yeah, this was entirely her brainchild. Because honestly, if it was my idea, I think we would have done these many, many years ago. And I had done live streams during COVID, like watch-alongs and randomly going live back in like late 2019 throughout like the spring of 2020, right after COVID happened. And we didn't really do a whole lot of them after that. I didn't really like the process. And honestly, part of it too was that I needed a new laptop. And I got a new laptop last summer. And it has been a fucking godsend. I cannot tell you, like, it was a big endeavor to have to go shop for one and then get it. Obviously, you're paying for it and whatnot. But this laptop that I'm currently streaming on saved my fucking ass. I thank God for it every single fucking day. It has made my life 1,000 times easier. Like, this is the fastest laptop that I've ever had. And I did more research this time before, because my last couple of laptops were good, but I didn't really do my complete research as to what I needed and what I should have. Like, we were running on fucking, I forgot what the specs were, but it was like a 2 or 3 or something like that as far as the, I say RPG. That's like a fucking video game term. I don't know. It's not come to me right now. But whatever the specs were, it was like a fourth of what it is now. And this is what I've always should have been using, but I never really realized that. So this thing is a godsend, like I said. And because I have the new laptop, my laptop isn't going to overheat, and it's not going to have any storage issues. That was kind of the biggest hurdle. So once we got past that, that kind of made the live streams a lot more possible. So yeah, I love doing these too. I appreciate you guys coming in and joining me for doing these things. And sometimes we might do random live streams too. I might randomly go live to rant about The Rock or to build a fucking Lego or something like that. I don't have it with me, but the other day I spent some time building a Stitch Lego. And you know what? We can go live and build Legos together and just bullshit. So that's something that you guys would like to see, and just let me know. That might be what the third stream is, just kind of doing whatever's randomly on my mind. But it also might be a playthrough as well of like 2K games and stuff like that, because I think I figured out. Nick told me the other day. Shout out to Nick. But I had just figured this out right before he told me that. I feel like a fucking idiot for not realizing this beforehand. But you can go live on PS4. I don't have a PS5, at least not right now. I don't really need one anytime soon. But on the PS4, you can go live very, very easily. So I already have the hashtag GSM for GM videos taped through the end of the week. But maybe starting next week, I might go live with those. So if that's something you want to see, be sure to let me know. Richie said, what Graham said, there are days where I don't want to go to the gym, but I do because I know I'll feel better. Try to have that mentality with everything, and you can conquer anything. Nike, just do it. Exactly. Yeah, Richie with the great great mindset there. Daniel said Friday was great. Yeah, Friday was a lot of fun. Friday was off the rails, but it was a lot of fun. Definitely one of my favorite streams that we've done so far this year. Alexis said I got to dig that shirt out of my archives. Yeah, definitely go find it. She also has so many ideas in my notes for the channel. Fingers crossed he uses more of them. Some of them, they're not all winners. Let's be fair. Some of the notes that she has, I'm not going to use every single one because some of them I don't want to do. Some of them are not great. But some of the ones that she has come up with, like the Wrestle Rant Ranks thing, I think was her idea. So that was also her idea as well. We got to collaborate, but so far so good. Richie said, I got to thank The Rock for pivoting. Otherwise, I may not have gotten that laptop. Yeah, exactly. Thank Rock. Thank Final Boss. I pivoted, and that was why we were sitting here today. AJ Watson said, thoughts on Vince and Fox being in talks. So I just saw that report before we went live here, the whole Vince and Fox being in talks about a new promotion. I think that stemmed from a conversation that Conrad Thompson had with Eric Bischoff on their podcast. And it's like, okay. I mean, I read through the paragraphs, and I'm like, this just sounds like nonsense. So I need like a Cliff Notes version of what they said, but I kind of skimmed through what they said. And it sounded like they had heard through the grapevine that Vince was talking with Fox. Because why else would he be at the Super Bowl, which I think aired on Fox, they said. I don't remember exactly, but there might be smoke to the fire there. I don't think it's a wrestling promotion. I feel like it would be another entertainment entity. The guy's got the money. He clearly doesn't want to wind down. He is going to be busy until the day that he dies. Vince McMahon does not strike me as the type of person to just hang back and do nothing. He's got to constantly be doing something. I'll get to your comment in a second, Alexis, but yeah, I think there might be something to the Vince and Fox talk. How legitimate, I don't know, but it is something to keep an eye out for. I wouldn't be too worried. Like I think Eric Bischoff had said, "Oh yeah, another wrestling by a fucking pedophile like Vince McMahon." Who would even join it? Alberto Del Rio? Like, I would love to see what that roster would look like, specifically for the women's division. They're going to dig Sunny out of the fucking jailhouse and get her on the women's roster. I'm sure a lot of people, with the loyalty they have for Vince, would wrestle for him again, especially if the paycheck was there. That would just be a bad look. So hopefully that's something that does not materialize. If Vince does start up another company, I don't think it would be wrestling-centric. I think it would be something else. There might be something to it, but I'm not exactly banking on it. Nick said, shout out to you. No, shout out to you, Nick. He sent us a very scary Sonic video of him doing a Sonic impression with that Snapchat filter. It was terrifying. It was funny, but it was terrifying. Daniel said, yeah, seeing you go live for Legos and game streams would be dope. All right, that's something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind there for the future. And Alexis also said, and Abusika said he agreed with that. I appreciate it. Alexis said, one thing I love about him, talking about me, is that he never hesitates to give it to me straight. His level of honesty is unmatched. Yeah, I don't, am I breaking up here? All right. He said, you're breaking up there. Let me know if you guys can still hear me in the chat. Johnny said I'm breaking up there a little bit. I don't know what the issue would be. I don't know, is it an audio thing or a video thing? Just let me know. Let's see. Richie also said, random sidebar, but breaking news. Kathleen Kennedy is leaving Lucasfilm at the end of 2025. W or L for Star Wars fans? I would say that's probably a W. I mean, for me personally, I haven't had the same issue with Kathleen Kennedy running Star Wars the same way that a lot of other people have. Our friend Connor, who Alexis obviously knows very well as well. We're in a group chat. We just texted like 10 minutes ago before the stream went live. I sent him the news, and he is not optimistic this is going to be a W for... I mean, he doesn't think that keeping her around is a W. He thinks that she has done irreparable damage. Those were his words to Star Wars. And I'm not saying... Okay, Alexis said I closed the app and opened it again, and it's working now. Alexis said it was audio. Daniel said it was audio. Okay, yeah, so try... Daniel and Alexis said they closed the app and reopened it, and it was fine. So... if there's any more issues, let me know. I'm not sure what went wrong. I don't think I lost internet or anything. So, yeah, maybe just try doing that. But yeah, as far as the Kathleen Kennedy thing goes, our buddy thinks that, it's done irreparable damage to Star Wars, which I'm not going to agree or disagree with. I really, as far as Star Wars goes, I love Star Wars, but I watch all the content. Alexis and I, in the last couple of years, we watched all of Clone Wars, Rebels, all the new shows, too. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Acolyte, Ahsoka, Bad Batch. We've watched it all. And I mean, honestly, there's not a single one of those shows I would say, man, that was a waste of time, that was terrible. All of those shows, even Acolyte, I thought ended up being pretty good. So, I don't know. I feel like it might end up being a W in the long run, because if there was such toxicity from the hardcore Star Wars fan base to get her out of there, now that she's not just away from Star Wars, but all things Lucasfilm, maybe they might pivot, to use that rock word, in a different direction and start giving people more of what they want to see. So it is weird right now that there isn't a whole lot of Star Wars content. They just got through, what did they just do? Acolyte last summer, and Andor is coming up in about 2 months, which I'm looking forward to. We're both really looking forward to that show. But there's not a whole lot in the pipeline. I know they're doing the Mandalorian and Grogu movie in about a year. But like other than that, there's not a whole lot that's been officially announced. Not in the same way that there was a year or two ago when they were coming out with shows left and right every other fucking month. Animated, live action. Haven't seen a whole lot of that as of late. So we'll see. I'm not exactly sure what they have in store for Star Wars, but I'm always optimistic because I enjoy, Marvel as well. But I'm pretty much a mark in that I'll consume pretty much anything they put out. Whether it's great, sometimes it's missable. I'll check it out regardless, and usually I'll enjoy it because I'm just kind of a casual mark as far as that sort of stuff goes. I'll follow all of it, but when I say casual mark, I mean I'll enjoy most of what they put out. Abusika said I was fine on his end, but he was watching in his computer. So yeah, I don't know what went wrong on my end. I apologize. So hopefully it doesn't cut out again. If it does, please let me know. But Johnny, I forgot to mention earlier, thanks for joining. I know that was your first comment of the day. Great to see you in the chat. So thank you for letting me know about the audio or video issue, the audio issue. I appreciate you giving me a heads up. Richie said, I told my wife about the Ava Rain segment from your stream the other week. I mentioned that she can play the end credits comment, which came from Nick. Nick is here. That's it. I'm still laughing about that. And she laughed her ass off. She too is not a fan of Ava. That's really funny. Yeah, the Ava rant. So we went on a Rock rant on Saturday. Last Tuesday was the Ava rant. No, Thursday was the Io Sky rant, but not because she's bad, but because RJ really wanted her in an important match at WrestleMania. That was a great rant as well. So check that out. No real rants today as far as maybe you guys can trigger something within me to go on a rant about something, but that's not exactly that's not right. And there's nothing that comes to mind that I have to rant about. We'll get the next question here in a moment. But Richie also mentioned there has been a lot of misses in Star Wars since 2015, but there has also been a lot of hits. Sometimes they just stick the landing, others not so much. I just think Star Wars is a bit overexposed at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing with Star Wars is that there has been no movies. They have not put out a movie since Episode 9, at this point over 5 years ago. And fun fact, that was actually one of the last times, I mean, I've seen Richie Holbein, not one of the last times, that's actually not accurate. But when Episode 9 came out, it was that same day. I think I saw it that morning with Alexis and my brother. And then that exact same day, I think Alexis dropped me off or something. Something happened where we kind of met in the middle. And then I got a ride to the train station, went to Barclays for SmackDown, where Richie got me a ticket along with the rest of his wedding party, I believe, a lot of his close friends. And we went to SmackDown to the Barclays Center that night. So it's funny that Richie asked me about that because I saw Episode 9 that morning. We talked about it when I saw him, and then we went to SmackDown that night. And then he got married the next day, so quite the crazy weekend. But anyway, they haven't done any movies since 2019. It's all been shows, but they've done a lot of shows. Like, I think even Marvel as well, and it's a Disney Plus problem, really, just in general. But I think they can do a better job of slowing down the amount of shows that they do and focusing on quality over quantity. And I feel like that would really help. Yeah, Nick said, geez, everyone, love that comment. Thanks, guys. Yeah, Nick was the one responsible for that end credits line. That was, I should clip that and put that here as a short on the channel just because it was it literally broke me for a couple minutes. Lindsay also joining us. Lindsay, hope you're doing well. Great to see you the other day. Thank you for joining us here as well. Johnny said, amazing rank of the Elimination Chamber matches. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So that went up yesterday. If you haven't already checked it out, please do so. I ranked all the Elimination Chamber matches from the very first one to the most recent one. That went up yesterday on Wrestle Rant Ranks here on the channel. So if you haven't already, check that out. Not right now. Finish the stream, and then check it out afterward. I liked how it came out, so I appreciate you guys for watching that. Johnny said, what is your favorite last two in an Elimination Chamber match? That's a good question. My favorite last two in a chamber match, probably Shawn Michaels and Triple H. I mean, that finishing sequence was incredible. Honestly, like any of the last two in the chamber matches that I mentioned in that video, so spoiler alert, but that original one is probably still my favorite from 02 Survivor Series. Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I think that's probably my favorite last two. That Bray Wyatt and AJ Styles in 2017. That was an amazing final two for the WWE title. I'm sure there's been more, but those are the top two that come to mind. Daniel said, I want to thank Ava and her pops for their contributions in providing us some hilarious streams. Yeah, I mean, we can thank the Johnsons for that. We can thank Rock and Ava for some shit for us to really delve into and laugh about and make fun of here on the stream. So Rock and Ava really did give us the gift of entertainment in the last week, as far as that goes. Johnny also said, we had the Star Wars ripoff Rebel Moon. Oh, the movie? I remember that came out. I didn't see that. I didn't hear, like, amazing things about it. So, I mean, I didn't really care to see it anyway. But I did hear it was, like, Star Wars Dune-esque, and that didn't really jump out to me at all. Richie saying, yeah, that was the same day. I did see Episode 9 the same day that I went to SmackDown with you. So, basically, the way that day worked out, I think I got, like, 5 hours of sleep. Not even. I think I went to bed at like 4 or 5 in the morning the night before because I had a lot of work to do before, because I knew I'd be going all Friday. So I had a lot of work to do before leaving out early that Friday to see the movie, just to get it over with, because I know if I did not see it that morning when I had the chance to, that I would have been spoiled. So I got minimal sleep, saw the movie, got the SmackDown with you, saw the show. We stayed after for the NXT taping, went home. I think I got back at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I did any work when I got back just because I had done it all the night before because I knew I would be out all Friday. I almost fell asleep on the train. Did not, thankfully. Almost did. Got back at 3 o'clock in the morning and then woke up mere hours later because Alexis had her first, Well, I mean, she's had other Christmas family parties, but her first Christmas family party that I'd ever gone to was that next day. So there was a lot going on. I believe the chat just messed up for a second. Hold on. I got to reload the page for some reason. All right, give me a sec. All right, I think we should be fine now. I think my stream cut out for some reason, and I'm not sure why. I don't think I lost internet. So if I skipped for a second, it was very brief. I apologize for that. But yeah, Richie said, why does that feel like forever ago? Because it was. It was also before COVID, too. When before COVID happens, it really, that feels like it was an eternity ago. Johnny said, I can't wait for Daredevil Born Again. I can't either. Man, Daredevil Born Again is going to be an amazing show. I've heard a lot of great praise for those first few episodes, so I'm really looking forward to it. The trailer looked awesome. We had just finished Daredevil Season 3 and Punisher Season 2, like right before that most recent trailer came out about a month ago. It looks really promising. I've heard it's and again, take it for what it's worth, but I had seen some reviews this morning that called it one of the best MCU Disney Plus pilots they've ever done. Now, I don't know what that really says, though, because there haven't been a lot of, killer MCU Disney Plus show pilots. But I am looking forward to it, though. I do feel like it's going to be a great show, especially after the retooling and they connected it more to the original series. I'm very excited for that. Richie said Daniel Bryan and Santino Marella. Honestly, though, that was a hot final, too, at Elimination Chamber 2012 World Heavyweight Championship. That was a great final stretch. It's not among my favorite, but it was a great final stretch for that chamber where people legitimately thought Santino might win the World Heavyweight Championship that night. Wrestling Fan 13 joining us as well. He said, hey, Graham, what's up, my man? Hope you're enjoying your day. Thank you, Wrestling Fan. Great to see you in the chat. Hope you're doing well as well. Everyone else joining us here in the chat. Johnny said, Bryan versus Kofi is a top 5. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Bryan and Kofi. That kind of set the stage for WrestleMania between the two. So, yeah, Bryan and Kofi is also in that conversation. I forgot about that. Richie said, I'm going to need you to take a week off to make up for all the sleep that you've lost over the years. Yeah, that, not a bad idea. Easier said than done. One of these weeks, maybe. I'm not one of those people that will tell you either. Oh, yeah, you could sleep when you're dead. I've lost a lot of sleep, but, I will catch up when necessary. I'm not going to get 2 hours and then continue to get, I'm not fucking Vince McMahon, okay? I'm not that psycho. I will catch up when I can. I'm not one of those people that'll tell you it's normal to get 4 hours of sleep every single day. Some people will tell you that. Some people have to, which I understand. But if you actively choose to get only, 5 might be more normal actually, but 3 hours a night is pretty ludicrous. I'm not going to be one of those people that tells you that. I think that's fucking stupid. Fernando said, what's up, everyone? Sorry I'm late. Fernando, great to see you. Thank you for checking out the chamber video. I saw your comment. Obviously, I replied. But thank you so much for checking that out, and great to see you here in the chat. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your Tuesday. Daniel said, pre-COVID does seem like 5 lifetimes ago sometimes. LOL. It does. It's crazy to see how much time has really passed and how much everything has really changed. The world has changed since right before COVID. And, some of those early days of COVID, it's weird. That might be one of the, last periods that might be nostalgic because it was just so different. No one went anywhere. Everything was closed. I'm almost even nostalgic for that period. I'm not saying I'm nostalgic for COVID necessarily, but it's a weird thing to say. But it was a totally different time. Even that Mania 36, it wasn't a great show at all. But I want to go back and watch it with 2025 eyes and how it's really aged and whatnot. I don't know. Weird thing to say, I know. Alexis said, I need more of David and Punisher and how happy he is. David in season 1 of Punisher was great. He's actually going to be playing the Thing in the new Fantastic Four movie. Evan Moss Bachrach, or however you pronounce his name, which I did not know until recently that was the same guy. Punisher is one of the best shows I've seen in the last couple of years. I've said this before. I said this to Alexis. That show was fucking amazing. Daredevil was great, specifically the 3rd season. The 2nd season kind of dragged. The 1st season was good. The 3rd season was awesome. Punisher is easily my favorite, easily my favorite superhero show I think I've ever seen, to be honest with you. Even over Loki, over all of that shit, it's better than all of it, in my opinion. Fernando said, do you think Triple H secretly hates The Rock during Mania season? LOL. Do I think he secretly hates Rock? Yeah, I do. I feel like if Rock just decides to come back when he wants to, and it throws everything into disarray. So I absolutely think that Triple H has some sort of resentment towards The Rock for like fucking up his plans. Every single time, like whether he's planning on Rock being there and then Rock doesn't show up, or Rock's not supposed to be at an event, and then he shows up and he decides to do it. It's like, dude, make up your fucking mind. Like, I know it's The Rock, he's busy, but like, he acts like he's God. Like, he could just show up and do whatever he wants and there's no consequences. Like, make up your fucking mind. So yeah, I'm sure Triple H secretly, maybe not publicly or actively, but I'm sure he's like, dude, make up your mind so we can have some consistency here and make this shit make sense. Because when it doesn't make sense, it falls on The Rock, but it also falls on Triple H. And now he's getting some blowback for it, which, as you can see from the title of this video, we're going to get into in a little bit. Johnny said, I worked with people who worked 80 to 100 hours a week and say I only sleep when I'm dead. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's people that believe that. What the fuck are they working 80 to 100 hours a week for? What the fuck are you? Are you the president or something like that? Are you the part of the Secret Service? I feel like people who say that, though, are the people that get like sick all the time and just are miserable people. So anyone that says they don't sleep that much and they actually don't sleep that much are probably fucking miserable people. Because how can you only sleep 3 to 4 hours a day and then just be normal and not be tired or cranky or whatever? That just doesn't make sense to me at all. Millennial Noob said, if Io Sky loses to Rhea Ripley clean next week on Raw, do you see Io in a similar situation that Seth Rollins was in on the road to WrestleMania 38? No, I don't think Io, because you're saying, so Io, if she loses to Rhea, then she'll go into Mania not really knowing what they're going to do with her, and she'll be in like an open challenge at Mania. I think if Io's on the Mania card, I think most likely it's not in that Women's World Championship match. It would be in a World Tag Team title match. And I hate saying that because I feel like that's a waste of Io. And RJ was vehemently against that last week when we spoke about it, and I get it. But I feel like the match at Mania will end up being Liv and Raquel versus Io and Kyrie or Io and Dakota or another team in a triple threat tag team match. That's probably where we're going with it. I feel like that's the end game for Io at WrestleMania, whether we like it or not. Everything did indeed slow down during COVID. I agree, Johnny. It was a very 2020 felt like it would never end. But early on, that just the novelty of everything just shutting down, not good, but it was a very interesting time to say the least. Abu Sika said, thoughts on Ryan Nemeth? Ryan Nemeth himself or Ryan Nemeth, the whole situation, the whole lawsuit? Because the situation itself is just fucking dumb. I don't know if he's looking for a paycheck or what. I mean, the situation with the whole Punk thing was like a year or two ago at this point. It's old news. It's kind of just, I mean, I know that's how lawsuits work. It takes a whole while for this shit to kind of get going. I understand that. But like, at this point, it's old news. Punk isn't even there anymore. He's not going to get a job with AEW. It's not like he's going back. He said he doesn't want to, but he's obviously saying that. Because obviously, if they offered him a shit ton of money to go back, then he would. But why the fuck would they want Ryan Nemeth on their show as a full-time competitor anyway? They don't. He's in TNA doing shit right now. So I think the lawsuit is stupid. The way it read was very weird. He said that Punk kind of intimidated him and threatened to beat him up. But this is the same guy that Ryan Nemeth tweeted about publicly and called the softest man alive. I'm not saying CM Punk is a godsend, is coming off as a saint in this situation. But it doesn't make Ryan Nemeth look very good either. Let's put it that way. So, and Ryan Nemeth himself is a complete non-factor. He's a nice guy. I've actually talked to him before. I've interviewed him before. He was a good interview. He was nice when I spoke to him all those years ago. But as like an on-air talent, I couldn't give a shit less about the guy. I mean, he is literally the epitome of an enhancement talent that gets way more television time, whether it be in AEW or now in TNA, than is probably deserved. And if he wasn't Dolph's brother, he probably would not be on any show right now at all. So I know he's an actor and a stunt double or whatever the fuck he does, and that's great. But, and I think he probably excels at that sort of stuff. But in the ring, he's a Dolph Ziggler light, and he makes no difference one way or the other. So the whole lawsuit thing is just a joke. Punisher is the best, Nick. I agree. Jessica Jones is amazing, or was amazing, Johnny said. I didn't watch Jessica Jones, but I just actually yesterday started and finished, not in all the same day. I started it Sunday, finished it yesterday. The Defenders, that was good. Just because Daredevil's coming up, so maybe if other characters from the other Netflix shows pop up in Born Again, I kind of want to be familiar with them a little bit. And I already knew what they looked like and whatnot, but Defenders also kind of bridged the gap between season 2 and season 3 of Daredevil. So I thought they did a good job with that. But anyway, I thought Defenders was a good show. Jessica Jones, I was more impressed by her role in that show than I was expecting. In the whole Defenders thing. My phone is going off. Alexis is fucking texting in the group chat. I gotta close my phone. Alexis, I know you're watching. You're fucking blowing up the phone, and it's I can't pay attention here. So I gotta turn my phone not off, but I gotta turn the screen away. Wrestling Fan 13 said, great Elimination Chamber match ranking video. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. He said, my favorite chamber match is either the 2017 match or the 2008 WWE Champion installment. Yeah, the 2017 one is still up there as one of the best they've ever done. The 2008 WWE title one, the number one contenders match for the WWE title, I haven't seen that in a long time. I've gotten not nostalgic towards it because, I wasn't a fan when that match happened, but the roster in that match had Triple H, Jeff Hardy, Jericho, JBL, Umaga, Shawn Michaels. That's a great fucking chamber lineup right there. I got to go back and rewatch them when I haven't seen it in a while. Richie said, thoughts on Ezekiel Jackson coming out of retirement? I used to love Ezekiel Jackson back in the day. Good for him for getting back in the ring. I didn't really think that he stopped wrestling. I know he was on Lucha Underground of all places years ago. He had a quick run in TNA about a decade ago. Didn't know that he stopped wrestling. I thought he just did indies. Fun fact, though, Alexis and I actually met him about 5 years ago at the big event in New York City, an autograph signing. I almost said contract signing. An autograph signing, and he signed my Intercontinental Championship belt, which I'm glad he did because I don't think he does any autograph signings anymore and shit like that. So I would not have been able to get that name unless I saw him at that autograph signing, and I'm glad he got it. He was a nice guy. I think his wife was there too. I think his wife was doing was taking the money for his autographs and shit. I think she was their the money handler. I think she was doing that. I might be mistaken though. Richie said, Dwayne doesn't have to culminate in a match, Johnson. Yeah, I know. That bullshit still pisses me off. It still makes no fucking sense. I didn't like the amnesia angle with Billy Russo / Jigsaw and the Punisher, Fernando said. Or Johnny said, rather. I thought it was well done. I liked it. First of all, I didn't know it was Jigsaw. Alexis's brother had to tell us that it was a villain named Jigsaw. I wasn't familiar, so I didn't know. That whole big reveal, I didn't know who he was supposed to be. I don't think they ever called him Jigsaw in the show. They might have made a slight reference, but I don't remember. But yeah, I thought the amnesia angle, I thought it was cool because it kind of made you think, did he actually have amnesia or is he just pretending? Because I know the woman thought that he was pretending. I forgot her name, but the Homeland Security agent. But I liked it. I thought he was a great character. Fernando said the Punisher and Daredevil Disney Plus series way better than the movies. The original movies. I never saw the Punisher movie that came out 20 years ago. Alexis and I did watch the Daredevil movie that came out 20 years ago just because I knew Elektra. I forgot who played her in the movie. I got to really think about it. I'm not on my toes right now, so I'm not thinking who played her. But, whoever played Elektra in those original movies, she popped up in Deadpool and Wolverine, obviously. Spoiler alert. So I knew she was going to be in the movie, so I made sure to watch that original. I made sure to watch that original Daredevil movie before we saw Deadpool, so she would be more surprised, and it worked. So I'm glad we watched the movie. That movie was awful. That movie was terrible. Richie said maybe that lack of sleep is also why Vince became out of touch, among other things. I think it's also among those other things that really caused him to lose, become out of touch. But the Vince lack of sleep does not help. It definitely does not. Yeah, Abu Sika said the lawsuit. Yeah, the lawsuit is just ridiculous. The whole Ryan Nemeth lawsuit thing is just a joke. Is he really going to get anything out of it? He doesn't come across too well in the whole lawsuit situation anyway. Not saying Tony Khan and CM Punk were completely in the right, but it's just a stupid situation for someone that really doesn't matter at the end of the day in terms of making a difference or they could have let Ryan Nemeth go for any number of other reasons. They were probably not going to use him anyway. He was barely on TV at the point in which they let him go. So who gives a shit? Lindsay's sending in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that. With the Bravo dog emoji, I think that is. Thank you for sending that in. Let me backtrack a little bit here. We'll go back to the questions in a moment. I love looking at the chat, so I get distracted. But let me see. Daniel said Ryan Nemeth tweeted that Punk was the softest guy alive, and now look who's pressing charges. Exactly. That's exactly my point. The lawsuits are going absolutely nowhere. I agree, Fernando. Johnny said, who has been the better booker this decade, Tony Khan or Triple H? Oh, man, so far this decade, we're only 5 years in. Really 4. 2025 just started. I don't know. I would go Tony Khan because I feel like Tony Khan's 2020, 2021, 2022 were great. Um, Connor, I know you're in the chat now. I could Venom 84. I know that's you. I know that's definitely you. Alexis gave you the link for this chat, so I will definitely read your question in a second. But I'm gonna go Tony Khan. I feel like Triple H's booking has been great, but really just relative to the Vince stuff. Like if you compared Triple H's booking to Tony Khan's booking of a couple of years ago, I think it's pretty even to be honest with you. And I feel like Tony Khan, aside from recently, but largely has been more consistent this decade than WWE. I mean, are we including Triple H's like NXT work too? Because he wasn't there for like a whole fucking year and a half after he got sick or something. So I'm willing to go Tony Khan, but I could lean towards Triple H. I feel like it's pretty even to be honest with you. Wrestling Fan 13 said, I might be in the minority on this one, but I'm really optimistic for the direction the Cody and Rock story is headed. Granted, the segment from this week's SmackDown was awkward, but it has my attention. You're definitely in the minority because we spent the whole 3 hours on Friday, Saturday shitting on how fucking awful that segment was and how I don't really think it's worth the end game in which they're building to. So I guess we'll see. But, I mean, I'm glad you're optimistic, though. Like I said during that stream, if you're enjoying what you're seeing from Rock and Cody, more power to you. It's not my cup of tea. I'm just not optimistic that they even know where the fuck they're going with this thing and that it came together at the last minute. That's not to say it will end up poorly. I just don't think it will end up well. That's just my opinion. If it ends up going great, then amazing. I'm glad to have been wrong. But I don't want to be right in saying that it might end up terribly. That's just the feeling that I get. So we'll see. But Johnny said also, I want the Defenders and Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. That would be cool, but I mean, there's so many characters as there is that they need to include in those movies that, I mean, to include the Defenders, people that a lot of casual MCU viewers probably don't even know of because they didn't watch the Netflix shows, would be a lot to introduce them. And you also have the X-Men potentially, Fantastic Four being, they're debuting, their new prospects. When you debut, we're going to bring this back to wrestling terms. When you debut a lot of talent at the same time, nobody gets over. I feel like the Defenders would just get lost in the shuffle. It would be cool for a cameo, but like with the amount of people they're probably putting in those movies, I don't know if it would work. I would pop, but I don't know if it would really work, logistically speaking. But Venom, probably Connor's question. He said, what do we think about the highest of the superhero cinema, Venom trilogy, peak or cinema? I'm going cinema. I mean, it's definitely close to peak. I think it's both. I think it's peak cinema, to be quite honest with you. I didn't see the third Venom movie with Connor, but we did see the first two. And I enjoyed them. I think I'm more, partial towards those movies than most. A lot of people did not like the last one. I liked the last one. I liked all of them. I like the last one, though. I think the first one was the best one, then the third one, then the second. Connor might have a different ranking, but that's how I feel about that. Fernando also said, Ryan Nemeth is taking people to court for money because he knows he sucks as a wrestler and a stand-up comedian. That's a bold opinion there on Mr. Ryan Nemeth. Johnny said, I prefer blood and the old look of the Elimination Chamber. The old look was great. The new one is safer, but blood in the chamber also adds to it. And they could bring it back. I mean, WWE has been much more open about using blood in matches in the last year. So if they put blood in the Elimination Chamber this year, I feel like it's not completely unlikely. Nick said, when you're here, your family. Sounds to me like a good slogan for an Italian restaurant. Yeah, it does. Like maybe for a certain garden of some sort that might end up being a great restaurant that we're going to have to go to again soon. Wink, wink. That gives you some of the best deals around. God, I fucking love that place. If you want to know something that you weren't aware of previously, I'm a big fan of said Italian restaurant that I'm referring there. Big fan of that place. If you want to take me out to fine dining, bring me to Olive Garden. They should be a sponsor here for the channel. Richie said, Big Zeke has a YouTube channel. He seems like such a wholesome guy. Still massive as hell, too. Yeah, I mean, I saw him 5 years ago, but he was big then, and he was really nice. I was always a big Zeke fan in ECW when he was on Raw. The core sucked, but like I always liked Zeke. I always thought he should have been a future world champion. Probably taken a little bit too far. I think I thought a little too much of him at that point. But I did like Zeke, though, when he was in the company. And an amazing theme song, by the way, as well. Yes, we did think Dino was having a baby, Alexis. That was Alexis's main goal with these chats and chatting in is to pop me. That chat, it's an inside joke, but it popped me. That was funny. Nick said, please excuse the typo on my super chat. It's been excused. Jennifer Gardner. Yes, it's Jennifer Gardner. Venom said, wait, Punisher and Thomas Jane is cinema and Jennifer Gardner played Elektra. Yes, it was Jennifer Gardner. That's who it was. We did not see I have not seen Punisher with Thomas Jane, though. That's the movie with Kevin Nash is in that movie, I'm pretty sure. If you're talking about the movie from 2004, I think Kevin Nash is in that movie as one of the bad guys. Funnily enough. Kevin Nash, OMG, Kevin Nash, what is it? OMG, Kevin Nash, what else is it? LOL? No, I thought he was dead, LOL. I forgot the middle one, though. OMG, WTF, Kevin Nash. No, okay, here it is. OMG, Kevin Nash, WTF, thought he was dead, LOL. That was the text that CM Punk's sister, Shailene, sent him the night that he returned at SummerSlam 2011. That will live rent-free in my head, if I could get it right. But that was fucking funny. Wrestling Fans said, the opening segment with CM Punk and Logan Paul last night on Raw didn't click for me. Honestly, I'm not interested in seeing a prolonged program between the two in the future. That's just me, though. I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I didn't love that segment either. I thought it was good, but given like that Punk is a biting promo, like he can be a great promo, and Logan's also cut some good shit-talking promos too. I was expecting a lot more from that. So I don't know if they were holding back for that reason, but I hope that reason isn't that we're getting that fucking promo, or that we're getting that program at WrestleMania. God, I do not want Punk versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania. At least not this year. I just feel like that would be a waste of CM Punk. Put CM Punk up against Cody Rhodes, ideally. Honestly, even the Roman Reigns-Rollins triple threat match, which I don't love that idea, even that would be better than a match with Logan Paul. That, to me, is like undercard nonsense. Punk should be higher on the card than that. They can feud down the road. I would not do that right now. I feel like to do that right now would be a waste, and I did hope for more from that segment on Monday as well. I agree. I'll go back to the chat in a moment. Let's answer some more of the questions on the document, then I'll go back to reading the chat. Micah also asked, what do you think of Randy Orton becoming The Rock's corporate champion? Rock versus Cody Rhodes, WWE title, night 2. I actually don't love that idea. I don't. So you're saying Orton becomes The Rock's corporate champion? Would that be at night 1 and then Rock and Cody night 2? Cody should not pull double duty again. First of all, both of them would have to be the main event. Cody already pulled double duty in the main event last year. That would just be awful. I love Cody, but that would just be stupid. Orton becoming the corporate champion, I feel like we just saw that. Like, he joined Evolution 20 years ago. We saw it in Authority 10 years ago. I don't want to see that again. I do not want to see Orton become the Authority 2.0 poster child. I feel like that'd be silly. So, no thanks. No thanks on I want to see Orton and Cody at some point, given the history, and the match would be great. But Orton's coming back for Kevin Owens. He kind of has to. At this point, Orton ain't coming back for Cody Rhodes unless it's after WrestleMania. If Orton comes back after WrestleMania and we get Owens and Zayn at WrestleMania instead, I'm okay with that, but I just feel like it makes more sense for Orton to be back for Mania to get revenge on Owens and then go after Cody Rhodes. So I don't love that idea. If you're just joining us in the chat, or if you've been here and haven't already done so, be sure to like the video, subscribe, hit the fucking bell button to be notified every time we go live. Tuesdays, Thursdays, would appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. I'll be back to the chat in just a moment. I'll answer one more question here, then we'll get back to the chat. This is actually on the same topic of what we were speaking about a moment ago. Jordan B. sent in this question from YouTube. This is an excellent question. I saw a post on Twitter talking about John Cena's Sinister Six. In this guy's post, he had John Cena's Sinister Six consisting of AJ Styles, CM Punk, Edge, Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, and Triple H. He also asked, just wondering what your version of John Cena's Sinister Six would be. For me, I would keep CM Punk, Edge, and Randy Orton. I would replace Kurt Angle, Triple H, and AJ Styles with Brock Lesnar, Batista, and The Miz. That is an awesome question. I love the idea of John Cena having so many great rivals that it would be like a Sinister Six-esque stable. That's fucking cool. Honestly, the original version of what you said, Styles, Punk, Edge, Angle, Orton, and Triple H, is probably the best version of it. The only substitution I would make, I would probably take out Triple H and put in Brock. I feel like Brock can be the heavy of that. I don't know what the equivalent would be to the comics of the actual Sinister Six, but I feel like Brock being in there would be cool. Take out Triple H. Then you have Orton, Angle, Edge, who are all very different, by the way. AJ's got to be in there. AJ is one of Cena's best in-ring rivals ever. He's got to be in that group. So I would agree with the original 6 that was pitched. I would just take out Triple H and put in Brock. Batista is close. I would not put in Miz. Miz would feel so out of place. I know all the matches that Cena and Miz have had, but for the match alone at WrestleMania 27 that sucked and felt like a Raw main event in 2011, I would not put Miz in that conversation. He would just stick out like a sore thumb. John Cena would run through him with ease. So I would not put Miz in there. I like Styles. I like I like Punk, Edge, Angle, Orton. And I would just take out Triple H and put in Brock Lesnar. All right, so back to the chat here for a second. Fernando said, who is your top 5 best Elimination Chamber performances? That's a good question. I feel like Kofi had a really good performance in 2019. He came very close. Santino as well. Honestly, like, I didn't want Santino to win the World Heavyweight Championship in that 2012 Chamber match. But, I mean, first of all, he came close, and he had that fucking crowd behind him. So you gotta put Kofi in there. Or, Santino in there from 2012. And both of them, actually, Kofi and Santino, were both against Daniel Bryan in 2012 and 2019, respectively. So I would say Kofi 2019, Santino 2012, Braun Strowman, I think, eliminated everyone before losing in 2018. I think he took out literally everybody. So I would say Braun, Shayna in 2020. The actual match isn't really that good, but Shayna did eliminate everyone in the chamber before winning. That was the peak of her push. It was all downhill from there. But still, the performance itself was dominant. It was great. So Shayna 2020, Braun 2018, Kofi 2019, Santino 2012. Trying to think of who else. Edge in 09, the way he kind of lost one chamber match and then slid into the other one and won that one in 09 was really cool. So I don't know. I mean, that wasn't one performance. I'll probably throw that in there. Why the fuck not? I'm trying to think of the other chamber matches and who really stood out to me in those from like 05 and 06 and 07 and whatnot, 08. I'll go Edge in 09. The way he got eliminated and then showed up in another chamber that same show and won the championship was fucking cool. So I would probably go Edge in 2009 as to round up my top 5. Abu Sika said, if Vinnie Mac starts his own promotion, I'm sure Brock would be his first signee. Yes, I'm sure he would be. I'm going to ask you guys a question. You guys ask me a lot of questions here and we answer them. But I'm going to ask you guys a question. If Vince McMahon, because we asked, my question to you last week was, who would Ava play in the MCU? And there were a lot of great answers. But Nick popped me with she would play the credits. That was really fucking funny. I want to see who you can pop me with today. Try to make me laugh here. Who would Vince McMahon sign to his wrestling promotion if he were to start up a new promotion tomorrow? First of all, what would the name of the promotion be? And second of all, who would he sign to it? I already gave you one answer, Alberto Del Rio. And Brock Lesnar was another one that Abu Sika threw out there. What would be the name of the promotion? And who would Vince sign to the roster? That is my question for you guys. Please let me know in the chat. And in the meantime, I'll read out the rest of the chats. Richie said, Daredevil with Ben Affleck is so bad, but I love the hell out of that movie as a kid. Thomas Jane Punisher was fine. It has Kevin Nash, LOL. The sequel without Jane, though, bad. Yeah, we watched the Daredevil one last summer. It was indeed awful. I don't think Punisher's on Disney. I don't know why the Daredevil movie from 03 or whatever with Ben Affleck, who I love Ben Affleck, by the way. That might be the first and the only Ben Affleck movie I've seen that I thought was garbage. I love him in Good Will Hunting. I just watched The Town recently. He was in a bunch of other movies that I've seen. Wasn't he in that Air movie, that Michael Jordan shoe movie? I think I watched that about a year ago. He was great in that. If he was in that movie, I think he was. But the Daredevil movie sucked. That movie sucked. I don't think the Punisher movie's on Disney Plus, though. If it was, I would probably watch it. I don't know why one's on there and not the other one. And Richie also said, yeah, if you count OG NXT Black and Gold, I would say Triple H. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. It's kind of tough to say. Fernando said, Tony better booker than Triple H. Interesting. I mean, I feel like it could go either way. Tony Khan being the better booker than Triple H, it could very well go either way. Average Grunt said, another week with another live hashtag AskGSM stream. Hell yeah. Grunt, hope you're doing well, my man. Thanks for joining us. Always great to see you in the chat. Grunt's the man. I should pronounce him every time Grunt comes into the chat. I should pronounce him properly. The 2025 Men's Royal Rumble game winner. He won it. Along with Craig, he won the women's pool. But Average Grunt won the men's pool for the Royal Rumble games, so he's got a shirt coming his way. That should be on its way. I think I officially ordered it last week. That stuff usually takes about a week or two, so it should be to you within the next 2 weeks. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know if I have a tracking number yet. Daniel said, the not culminating in a match thing was one of the dumbest things Rock could have said out loud. That was a fucking stupid thing to say. Made absolutely no sense. Backtracking a little bit here. One sec. Wrestling Fan 13 said, Graham, have you seen Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson comments on Vince McMahon starting up a new wrestling promotion with Fox acting as a partner for the venture? Take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of the stream. Someone asked about it. I am taking it with a grain of salt. I mean, why the fuck would Fox want to be in business with Vince McMahon? I know he's a no, but like, I don't know. If Vince wants to start up his own entity, whether it be wrestling, which I'm not really considering that. I feel like it's more of an entertainment thing, realistically speaking. For Fox just to jump right in bed with this guy, I know they worked with Vince as part of SmackDown being on Fox for so many years. That would just be fucking stupid. I also don't see it being successful either. Think of all the business ventures that Vince has done. Yes, he had success with WWE. But other than WWE, literally almost everything this man touched, the XFL, the bodybuilding shit, all this other garbage, and even stuff within WWE, turned to trash. Just, it didn't work. So, especially at the age that he's at with the track record he has and all of the allegations against him, no way that anything Vince touches or starts up at this point will be successful. And I do not want to be wrong on that one. I hope it fails, whatever it is. Richie said, I think instead of a match with Cody and The Rock, the feud will end in a This Is Your Life segment between the two. Hey, listen, if he said it's not going to end in a match, then there you go. That's what Rock would say. So Connor said Venom ranking 2, 1, and 3. I said 1, 3, and 2, but he's saying 2 is his favorite. 2 is the best. Interesting. Abu Sika said Core Supremacy. His Core was awful. The theme song was great, and Daniel also agreed. Zeke's theme song on his own was also fire. That song was great. I could probably quote you that song word for word. I think it was this. I haven't looked it up. I'm just going off the top of my head. And I'm not going to sing it in the same tone of which the song is, but I think it was, this here what you call domination. It's a combination of skill and concentration. So rise to the occasion, do something amazing. Anything that I do, I dominate it. Don't tell me how I remember that 10, 15 years later, but it's a great fucking song. And you know what? I'll just, for the sake of being, check your internet. You keep lagging video-wise. Audio is perfect, though. That's what Alexis said. Let's see if, I don't know. I'm looking at my phone because I was going to pull up the song, but she just texted me saying the video is lagging. I don't know what's wrong. It says that it's fine. I'm not sure what the problem is. It might just be an internet problem. I don't know. So I apologize if there's video issues. But anyway, I'm going to pull up the song for Ezekiel Jackson, and I'm going to show you how fucking fire this is. And it's only like 15 seconds, so hopefully we don't get copyright stricken for this. This is the shit that you get on a live stream, by the way. The amazing content. And I'll read your chats in a second. Let's see. You know stopping. Somebody, man. Right here is domination. This is what you call domination. It's a combination of skill and concentration. So rise to the occasion. Do something amazing. Anything that I do, I dominate it. And then the rest of it's great too, but the actual chorus of it is great. Abu Sika said, chorus song was great. Long live End of Days. Amazing song. Fernando said, yes, Kevin Nash plays a Russian villain. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be Logan versus Punk. I don't think it is. But it could be. I don't think so. Daniel said, Logan told Punk, I've seen your tweets. Like, bro, the man hasn't tweeted since the Obama administration. Did he say that? Did he say that on the during his promo? Because Punk, you're right, has not tweeted in like 3 years. He's probably talking about Instagram, but like that's still such a stupid thing to say because Punk has not been on Twitter in a long time. Boogs Cruz, thank you for joining us, sir. He said, do you think Triple H doesn't see Punk as a main event title winner anymore? Seems like he only wants to book him as a vet there to put over younger talent. No, I don't agree with that at all. I think he does indeed see him as a main event attraction. I mean, Punk has... I mean, what talent has Punk even put over since he's been back in the company? He feuded with Drew, who he beat twice on back-to-back pay-per-views. He won in War Games. He did well in the Rumble. He beat Rollins on that first Raw on Netflix. So, I mean, it's not like he's in there losing to... I mean, Logan Paul, first of all, is in a young up-and-comer. It's fucking Logan Paul. He's kind of on the outside looking in sort of thing. But, yeah, I don't think Triple H sees Punk in that light. I think he does seem as a main event attraction. They've booked him pretty well since he's come back, aside from the injury stuff, which they couldn't plan for, obviously. I think he's booked him fairly well. Venom also said, where's Morbius in that Cena Sinister Six lineup? Morbius should be in there. If I had to pick a Morbius of the Sinister Six, if Miz was in that group, as I mentioned, Miz would be Morbius. Miz would be the equivalent to Morbius in a Sinister Six for John Cena rivals. Wrestling Fan 13 said, CM Punk as The Rock's champion would be ideal to me. CM Punk's motivation for turning could be him wanting to main event WrestleMania at any cost. He told Cody he would stab him in the front. Yes, you're right. They could very well go back to that. I think if they are going to do this Rock Corporate Champion shit, which I don't think is necessary, it honestly doesn't sound really all that appealing. You could just turn Cody heel anyway without being aligned with The Rock. That just kind of seems stupid to me. But yes, if anyone fits that role, it would either be Punk or Drew McIntyre. Punk was already the chosen one with The Rock, or with Vince McMahon once upon a time. So I feel like that would make sense. So going back to who Vince would sign for his wrestling promotion, I asked you guys that earlier, and we got a couple answers here. Grunt said Kevin Dunn. Definitely Kevin Dunn. That's a perfect answer. Alexis said he would call it Hot Pants Pro Wrestling, HPPW. That's pretty good, actually. John Laurinaitis would have to be a part of it as well in that case. If the promotion is named after Hot Pants Johnny Ace, he would have to be a part of it. Johnny said Vince would sign Marty Scurll, Velveteen Dream, and Joey Ryan. I didn't want to say Marty Scurll, but I was thinking Marty Scurll. Velveteen Dream, absolutely. Velveteen Dream would absolutely be a part of it. Joey Ryan, if you knew who Joey Ryan was, given the shit that he was doing on the Indies, and also if you're not familiar with Joey Ryan, worth a Google search. And he was doing awful shit before he even got ousted for being like a predator or whatever. Some of the shit he was doing on the Indies was just fucking stupid. I don't want to get into it here, but he would work well in a Vince McMahon run promotion. I think he even worked for Disney at one point. He got fired or banned or something like that. Daniel said, Poo Poo Dub, PPW. He would bring back Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I could see that. Vince would absolutely bring back Hulk Hogan. Alexis said, with headliners such as Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and they can do a storyline where they resurrect Epstein. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of actual wrestlers, but I think those people could be absolutely involved. They could be like the authority of a Vince McMahon run promotion, Weinstein and Bill Cosby for sure. Johnny said, Alexis is really trying to make me laugh with that, by the way. Johnny said, best Rumble performance, Kane 01, Roman Reigns 2014, and Brock 2020. Yeah, I would agree with that. As far as like Iron Men go, like Roxanne had a great performance this year. I think any of the ones that you mentioned definitely stand out. I'm trying to think of who else that was like in it for a long time as well. Bianca in 2021, I think, did it really well, being there for a long time. Bayley last year, Rhea the year before that. Those are all women. But for the men, AJ's performance in the Rumble that he debuted in 2016, I would also mention that as well. So, yeah, those are some good ones. Richie said Vince would call his new promotion XWL Extreme Wrestling League. He would sign Shane McMahon and Gronk and book them in an inaugural championship match, only for Hogan to interfere. Yeah, I could I could definitely see that. Richie also said, that doesn't work for me, brother. Yes, Hulk would not put a single fucking person over, so he would be the champion for life because he wouldn't want to lose. Wrestling Fan 13 said Genetic Jack came to wrestling and he'll sign Velveteen Dream probably. Yeah, Velveteen Dream was mentioned earlier. I could see Velveteen Dream being a part of it. Genetic Jack came to wrestling. GJW. I feel like it would be something fucking gross. I feel like TNA standing for Total Non-Stop Action, but at the end of the day, it's TNA. Like, we know what TNA actually stands for, which is dumb. That was a Vince Russo idea. I feel like Vince would do something similar, thinking that's funny. He would do something similar for his own promotion, where it's like a double entendre, and whatever it's supposed to stand for would just be something terrible. Richie said, Vince would create a pay-per-view called the Royal Clash, where 31 men enter the ring and have to throw each other under the top rope, and he'll book Benoit to return and win the match to face Shane McMahon. Yeah, I could definitely see him doing something along those lines. I could see Vince doing that with Shane McMahon in the mix, Benoit being back, Vince Russo on creative. That sounds like a Vince Russo on creative idea. He also wanted me to sing the song. Well, I did, so I hope you got your money's worth, which is none because this is a free stream. But, maybe once in a while I'll sing a random entrance theme if I remember the lyrics. Fernando said, Vince would call his promotion Genetic Jackhammer Wrestling. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's what wrestling fans said earlier. And would sign Enzo Amore, Valentine Dream. That's what he would call him, Valentine Dream. You probably spelled it wrong, but I think you're onto something, though, because WWE, they probably own the Velveteen Dream. So he could be the Valentine Dream. And he could have a fucking stupid Cupid gimmick. And Tyrus. We forgot about Tyrus. Tyrus would have to be involved. Tyrus would be the champion, if not Hulk Hogan. Nick said Vince would book Vince versus Vince in a match labeled "I Don't Love Her" and "The Baby Is Not Mine, Linda." Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Yeah, definitely not Tyrus. Fuck Tyrus. Daniel said, if you played SVR heavy, not a surprise. You remember Zeke's theme song lyrics, LOL. Yeah, SVR 2011 specifically. Or was it 2010? I think it was 2011. It was definitely 2011 that they had Zeke's theme song on the soundtrack. And it's a great fucking song. My man's spitting. Yeah, no, I don't know. Change your YouTube name to Wrestle Rap, Richie says. I don't know about that. Connor had mentioned Morbius Miz. It's Mizzen time. That sounds gross for some reason. It's Mizzen time. That sounds weird. And then Mizzed all over the place. Yeah, exactly. Richie also said, crazy. I was never a Joey Ryan fan, and then when all that stuff came out, I just wasn't surprised. I'll mention this. Joey Ryan was I know his gimmick was that he was a sleazeball. I'll tell you this. Joey Ryan would pay people, and I saw this at WrestleCon. I'm not making this shit up. You can Google it and see it for yourself. Joey Ryan, his gimmick was the whole dick flip thing where people could hold his nuts in the ring. Bear with me here. He would hold his nuts and then he would flip you. Probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen in wrestling. It was pretty fucking bad. And it's even worse when you realize that this was a real thing, not a joke, and that this was an actual gimmick. And it wasn't funny, it was a serious thing. But anyway, that alone was bad enough. He was doing meet and greets where you can have your hand on his junk, and you could pay for that in the picture. Not kidding, and I saw a whole fucking line of people doing it at WrestleCon about 5-6 years ago. So to say I was not surprised when the allegations came out would be an understatement. Grunt said, hot or cold, I hate that all the tickets sold are credited to the main event of a show. Yeah, I agree with that. It's not always the main event. Sometimes people pay to see the mid-card match or a big attraction in the other card. It's not always the main event. It's not like the main event is the match that's bringing people in. Usually it is, but there's other stuff on the show that people look forward to and pay to want to see, whether it be a certain women's wrestler or women's match or a men's match, men's wrestler, whatever. It's not always necessarily the main event. Abu Sika said, or Grunt also said actually, I can't be the only one who has ordered or watched the show in spite of a main event because I was interested in the undercard. I agree. I'm the same way. Abu Sika said, I don't think Vince would sign Shane. He doesn't seem to hold him in the highest regard. Yeah, some of the shit that Shane said about Vince, he was at the Super Bowl with him, I'm pretty sure. So it's not like they're not on speaking terms. But some of the stuff that Shane said about Vince in that documentary was fascinating. And that they're not exactly this close father-son. They don't have exactly this close father-son relationship. Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, I don't know if Shane would be involved, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was. Just because Shane likes the airtime and he likes to be on TV. I didn't mention this on Wrestle Rant Radio last week. I think it came out after the fact. But it was reported that Shane was indeed interested in coming to AEW, but he wanted the book. He wanted Tony Khan to give him the book and give him complete creative freedom. Not of his character, like of the entire fucking company. And Tony Khan said no. And then I guess not only did he say no, he just ghosted the man. honestly, say what you will about Tony Khan, he dodged the bullet with that one. Do not give Shane the book. That would have been, if you think AEW is lacking right now, it would have been a lot worse under Shane. Shane doesn't even follow the product. They even said that he wasn't familiar enough with the product for that to work. And I agree, that would have been ridiculous, especially if he doesn't follow the product. Dylan joining us said, greetings from the dumpster truck ram. Dylan, thanks for joining us as always. He said, I would say Triple H's creative decision since last year's WrestleMania have been half-baked because Gunther and Cody's title reigns have been mid. Hopefully it gets better. Interesting take there from Dylan. We'll get to the Triple H question in a little bit. I mean, there's been a lot of criticism about Cody's run specifically. Gunther, I would say, needs more work. Cody's run I haven't had an issue with, personally. Gunther's run, I think, has been good, but he hasn't really felt like the focal point of Raw the way that he should be. How many Raws has Gunther actually closed? Let's put it that way. How many shows has Gunther headlined or closed? The answer is he doesn't. The focus is on always everything else, whether it be, something with CM Punk or Rollins and Drew and Logan Paul. It is never on Gunther. Daniel said, way before everything came out, I always thought Joey Ryan was a huge weirdo. Yeah, he was a big weirdo. That mustache rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah, the porn stash, yes, exactly. Fernando said, why do you think Vince Russo, is so bitter about wrestling these days? Because I think he knows that it works. I think he knows that it's the funny thing is, I did a podcast with him, not me specifically, but my buddy Randy, who runs a wrestling podcast, wanted Vince Russo on to ask him about Deadly Games or something, one of the anniversaries, Deadly Games 98, the Survivor Series show, the tournament. And before we hit record, and even after we hit record, he was totally fucking normal, Vince Russo was. Like a totally normal and even nice person. I'm not saying I don't know him personally, so I can't say if he's a fucking terrible person or what, but his opinions usually are just not great. I honestly think part of it is he knows that shit sells, and there's an audience for that sort of stuff. So that's why he leans so heavily into it. I mean, Cornette also does something similar, Vince Russo even more so. But Cornette does it too. I think outside of like the recording stuff, they're much more laid back. But when the record button is on, they're going to go like extremely negative or give these bold takes that people will pay attention to and talk about because that's what they know people will talk about. If they say shit that everyone agreed with, people are not going to talk about them, or specifically Russo. I think Cornette might be a bit more real than that. I do think Russo says a lot of shit that even he doesn't believe sometimes. Grunt had said earlier, he never understood how Joey Ryan got over. Wrestling Fan said, in all seriousness, if Vince McMahon started up another wrestling company, will talent actually sign given the horrible allegations? From an optics standpoint, it's career suicide for anyone who signs. Yeah. I mean, I do think people would sign because at the end of the day, it is a McMahon-run promotion. It's a McMahon-run promotion, and he would, he has a lot of loyalty among a lot of the people. You probably saw the documentary. There were a lot of people that thought highly of Vince, and they still thank him to this day for the opportunities that he gave them during their careers. He still thanks them for all the shit that he had done for them and all this other sort of stuff. So yes, I do think there would be a fair amount of people. Now, are we talking headliners here? Like people that actually would give a shit about career suicide? No, we're not talking about, I don't think John Cena would ever join, or The Rock, or a Rollins, or a Punk. Definitely not Punk. Punk fucking hates Vince. But we also thought he hated Triple H. But it seems like Vince, especially for the shit that he's been, alleged of doing, Punk does not approve of that shit. Punk ain't ever working with Vince McMahon again. I do think there'd be a lot of mid-carders, people just looking for a paycheck, that would, if he were to start up a wrestling promotion, which again, I don't think he is, would legitimately go there. I honestly do. But we're probably talking mid to lower card people. And then other people who may not really be all that aware of Vince's bullshit from like other sports and shit that he might recruit and kind of manipulate into coming into his company. Grun said, hot or cold, Clash of Champions and Battle of the Belts are bad names for shows centered around title matches. They'd better fit for shows with champion versus champion matches. Yeah, they'd better fit for champion versus champion matches. But I like the idea of those shows being for all championships. Like all the matches on those shows are for belts. So Battle of the Belts is largely all championship matches. I think they moved away from doing Battle of the Belts, actually. They did one in like October. I don't think they've done one since. I think it got canceled along with Rampage. In Clash of Champions, it used to be all championship matches, like Night of Champions, but then they moved away from that. I don't like the idea of doing champion versus champion matches when they did it at Survivor Series, bragging rights, whatever the fuck. I never liked that idea. It sounds cool on paper, but someone's got to lose. So when they're now doing it at Crown Jewel, actually, they're doing it at Crown Jewel with Cody and Gunther, Liv and Nia, they did it last year. I didn't like it then either, so. Yeah, it's more fitting for those type of matches, but I don't love the concept. Venom Connor said, it's funny Vince with the porn stash rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, too. Yeah, definitely. Definitely, that's the truth. Daniel said, Cornette, giant hatred of Vince Russo cracks me up. His hatred of Russo, like the shit they've gone back and forth with, if you watch Dark Side of the Ring on the Montreal Screwjob, and they're both on it, it's a good episode, but it's made even better by Russo and Cornette just constantly shitting on each other. It's amazing. Daniel said, I'm also blocked by Vince Russo on X, which is odd because I've never tweeted at him or about him, LOL. I would not typically say wear a being blocked thing as a badge of honor, but in Vince Russo's case, I would wear that as a badge of honor. That is weird, like that people, even if you've never tweeted at him, he could have very easily looked up his name or something that you responded to that was about him. That's what some of these people do because they're obsessed with their fucking self-image. They look up shit about themselves and stuff like that. And they'll see what people are saying about them. Like, I never tweeted anything negative about Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, I've since learned, does not run his own account, so I don't think he blocked me, but I'm blocked by Shawn Michaels' Twitter, by whoever the fuck runs it. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people blocked by Shawn Michaels. And I've never even, criticized the guy. So I don't know what the fuck I got blocked for, but that was years ago. And I still laugh because I've interviewed him since then. And I'm almost, willing to bring up, hey, can you unblock me? But I know he doesn't control that, but it would still be funny to bring up. But I don't really have that type of relationship with him that it would make sense. That would just be fucking weird. Fernando said Joey Ryan had the stupidest wrestling gimmick ever. He definitely did. Grunt said Night of Champions and Battle for the Belts makes more sense. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. Justin Fleming, thank you for joining us. He said triple threat match was a fluke last night. In what way? The fact that Penta lost? I thought it was a good match. I thought Kaiser winning was fine. Kaiser needed that win, so I was totally fine with the outcome. Fernando said if Joey Ryan was the thing in the Attitude Era, Vince would have signed him and booked Joey Ryan versus Val Venus for the World Championship. It could still happen in 2025, but yes, if Joey Ryan was around 25 years ago, he absolutely would have been a part of the Attitude Era. Absolutely. Him and Val Venus would have had to fight for the same gimmick. Daniel said Cornette saying that he lost weight just to outlive Russo and pee on his grave. Yeah, that was funny. Definitely dark, definitely gross, but it was funny. Dylan said, I agree. The champion versus champion match is cool concept, but like you said, someone's got to lose. Bring back either the brand versus brand or 5-on-5 matches. The 5-on-5 shit I'm fine with. I'm fine with the 5-on-5 matches. I don't like the whole Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series bullshit, but if they want to do occasionally at Survivor Series, one Raw versus SmackDown match where it's the best of Raw versus the best of SmackDown, nothing's ever really on the line. But I mean, that's fine. The one-on-one champion versus champion matches, I don't love unless it really makes sense. Wrestling Fan 13 said the blind loyalty that some people have for Vince is crazy. It genuinely sounds like a cult mindset. Wrestlers don't give themselves enough credit for their own success. Some praise Vince way too much. You're right. I mean, you look at these interviews a lot of these wrestlers do, their thoughts on Vince. And they'll be like, oh, I appreciate Vince for all the opportunities he gave me. Okay, but let's talk about how fucking deplorable of a human being this man is. We're not talking about how great of a booker he is or was or what he did for you. I mean, we can talk about that if you want. But I want to get your thoughts on, does it surprise you that this guy that you worked for X amount of years is a piece of shit? That's what I'm really more so, concerned about and asking about. Grunt said, oh yeah, that reminds me, Stu Bennett, blocked me apparently, found out when you retweeted his Nexus sign tweet. Yeah, because now you can see who blocked you. That's the funniest thing. You can retweet shit and you go to people's profiles and shit. And if someone retweets something by someone that blocked you, you can still see it, but you can't interact with it. It's I almost don't even want to know who blocked me. I don't even really care. I'm blocked by a few different wrestlers. I'm blocked by a lot of random fans. I see shit under posts, under WWE posts, and I'll go to the comments, not looking for people that blocked me. But I'll see people that I'm blocked by. I'm I don't even know who the fuck you are. Who the fuck? This is just weird. Did I say something negative about your favorite wrestler or your favorite fucking wrestling promotion? Get the fuck over yourselves. It's funny you say that. I'm actually followed by Wade Barrett, Stu Bennett. I tweeted a picture of me wearing a Santa hat of his, like a Bad News Barrett Santa hat that I've had for like 10 years, and he followed me right after that, so he actually follows me, which is funny. Justin said, I disagree. Penta is good, and Kaiser should look in the mirror. Oh, interesting take there from Justin. He wanted Penta to win, I guess is what he's trying to say. Fernando said, I missed the 5-on-5 elimination matches. Me too. Those were a great novelty at Survivor Series. And Richie also said, I'm blocked by Matt Riddle, but in all fairness, I talked a hell of a lot of smack about him, never been a fan. I mean, yeah, the more shit you talk about a certain person, obviously, you can't be surprised when they block you, whether you at them or not. I never at these people. I think that's kind of, I don't shit talk and at these people. I think that, like, who gives a shit? If you have an opinion about, like, someone like a Matt Riddle, maybe you added him. I mean, I guess that's your prerogative. I don't really do that. I just kind of feel like that's bringing it to their attention when it's not really necessary. You can have your opinion about them, but to like bring it to their attention, unless you're responding to something they said, is a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, if you don't like him anyway, then I guess it's totally fine that he blocked you. Back to the questions here. Jordan B said his second question was, what were your thoughts on the Ascension's NXT and main roster run? Also, do you think any NXT tag teams will beat the Ascension's 364-day tag team reign in the future? I just mentioned the Ascension on Twitter like a couple of weeks ago. Not even. I think it was like a week or two ago. Because maybe it was even last week. Fraxium is currently NXT Tag Team Champions. Obviously, they've been champions since like the summer, late summer, early, fall, whatever. And they initially won the belts over WrestleMania weekend last year. It wasn't over WrestleMania weekend. It was like on the Tuesday after Mania, but you get what I mean. So they've been champions. If they didn't drop the belt for like that 3-week period to chase you, by Mania weekend, and they're not dropping the belts before then at this point, I don't think, they would have been champions for a year. They would have broken the fucking record. They would have broken the record. But because that they lost the belts and then got them back, they're not going to break the consecutive record. But I think they should. The Ascension have had that record as the longest reigning NXT Tag Team Champions for 12 fucking years. They won those belts in late 2013, lost them in late 2014. At some point, will someone break the record? Probably. I mean, all records like that are usually broken, unless it's like the main roster, like Bruno being champion for 7 years. Like, that will probably never be broken. But like Roman held the belt for 4 years, so a lot of records there were broken that we never really expected someone to hold the championship for that long. So yes, I do think it could happen. I don't expect it to happen. I mean, Fraxium, they are the best tag team in wrestling right now. So quite honestly, you could keep the belts on them. And then just have them break. They would have to hold the belts until like the summer. They probably won't hold them that long. I think they should, because there's no tag team on their level right now. They probably will lose the belt soon, but that's probably what I would do personally. But yeah, their main roster run, as far as the Ascension goes, I like the Ascension. They were never going to be a top tier tag team, but they've ruined those guys from when the moment they fucking debuted on the main roster. They had that Legends Night or whatever it was, an old school Raw back in early 2015, and they were buried almost as soon as they got called up. Like, as soon as they got buried by DX, it was over for them. They were a jobber tag team from that point forward. And I think they lost their first match in the main roster like maybe a month later. So that was 10 years ago. They were cooked from that point forward. So their main roster run, they were jobbers up until they were fired in like, what was it, 2019, 2020? They were fired like long after you'd think they would be. They were on the main roster for a very, 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 very long time. They deserved a little bit better. They deserved more of a chance from when they first got called up. But it got to a certain point after they were like buried that they were never going to recover from that. Going back to the chat here for a moment. Fernando said, do you think Jade will return at Chamber? No, I think she returns on the SmackDown after Chamber. She could. I've seen a lot of people say that. I would save the Jade return and the Randy Orton return for the SmackDown after Chamber. Orton, if he comes back at Chamber, I would have him come back after Owens and Sami. I don't want Orton costing Owens the win. I think Owens should beat Sami Zayn. Owens needs a fucking pay-per-view win. More than Sami Zayn at this point. Grunt said, I also don't think shows centered around champion versus champion matches for the record. I also don't like those, I guess is what he's saying. He's just nitpicking names. Though promoting individual champion versus champion matches as a clash of champions, he likes that idea. He thinks that would work. I can agree with that. Fernando said, can you see AJ Styles signing with AEW when his contract expires after Mania? Do we know that his contract expires after Mania? Do we know that as a fact? Brother, I've been saying AJ should leave for AEW for at least fucking 4 or 5 years at this point. I mean, I was thinking that there was a chance of him leaving in like 2021, 2022, even 2023. We're so far removed from that. I'm just convinced he's staying right where he's at. And at this point, he's so close to... I mean, listen, would I like to see him get one more run outside of WWE? Yes. Go back to TNA one more time, which could happen now that he's in WWE and WWE's working with TNA. That could still happen. Like the AEW thing, I feel like would be fucking cool. If they worked with AEW and gave him his old Ring of Honor music back, Demigod, oh my God. One AJ run outside of WWE would be incredible. Am I expecting it? No. I think AJ Styles stays put. If this was a year ago, I would have said he should definitely leave. But since he's been back over the last month, it kind of feels like they're treating him more like a priority. Whereas a year ago, the Cody Rhodes feud was great. But like after that, he wasn't on TV for like 4 or 5 months. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like we just don't have any creative for AJ Styles? That makes no sense. Richie said, whoa, I forgot all about the Ascension, LOL. Yeah, I think a lot of people did. Because they disappeared. I think Khan went to TNA. Victor just disappeared off the face of the fucking earth. Connor, the bigger guy in the Ascension, went to TNA there for a while. He hasn't been there in a long time, so I don't think he's there anymore. Vince really hated anything Hunter created. He did. Anything that came out of NXT for the most part, Vince either didn't like it or had to put his own spin on it. That was how it worked for a very long time, and it was painfully apparent. Wrestling Fan 13 said, Graham, are you looking forward to WWE 2K25? Developer Brian Williams hinted at some shocking DLC surprises. Maybe we'll get a TNA pack. What's your PlayStation gamer tag? I'd like to find you. I'd like to friend you. So my PlayStation gamer tag is, I think, WrestleRant 3. WrestleRant was taken, unfortunately. I'm on PS4. I don't think it makes a difference if you're PS5, PS4. I'm WrestleRant 3. So find me there, friend me. If I know how to accept it, then I will. And I'm hoping to do a live stream of me playing 2K24 or getting a hang of it one of these days here on the channel. So like I said, if you haven't already, like this video and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button to be notified every single time we upload a new video, but more importantly, every single time we go live, including for potential, 2K24 gameplay streams and stuff like that. So as far as the TNA pack, I feel like a TNA pack would be cool. I did see what Brian Williams said about the DLC stuff, about like it being a massive deal this year. I think a TNA pack would be sick. Get Jordan Grace in there, who's now in WWE anyway. Get Josh Alexander's gone from TNA, so Joe Hendry, Josh Alexander would have been cool, but he's gone now, so I don't know if that would really work. Especially if he goes to AEW, that might be another tough thing too. I don't know if they would do that, because I feel like they would have to know that these people are not leaving, right? Because imagine if that person left TNA and went to AEW. I guess people leave WWE and go to AEW all the time, but especially if they're branded as a TNA wrestler in the game and they're in another company, maybe that's not that big of a deal. I could just see him not doing it for, that being one of the reasons. But a TNA pack, I'm not going to say it's impossible. I feel like there's a small chance that can happen. Maybe like a older version of AJ Styles from TNA. Maybe they won't have a TNA pack, but they could have like a AJ Styles pack of some different versions of him from TNA. That would be cool as well. Get ready to fly in a WWE game. Holy shit, I would flip. Fernando said, Liv and Raquel winning the tag titles means Bianca is definitely winning the Chamber and face Rhea at Mania and win the championship. I think she would probably win the belt. I do think we are getting Raquel. I'm sorry, Raquel. That wouldn't be great. Raquel, I do think we're getting Bianca and Rhea, rather, at WrestleMania. I was already thinking that, but her losing the tag titles last night made it that much more apparent to me that Bianca is winning this weekend. Matthew said, hey man, I'm doing a podcast project. Very cool. Let me know what it's about. First of all, Matthew, thank you for joining us. Second of all, let me know what your podcast project's all about. Good luck with it, regardless, whatever it entails exactly. Johnny said, how do you feel about Speedball Mike Bailey coming to AEW? I think it's great. I feel like Speedball Mike Bailey fits AEW really, really well. Great style. He's a really good wrestler. I really enjoyed his TNA work. I feel like he'll fit in there well. Now, what direction that they'll give to him, I don't know. Will he have direction? Will they utilize him well? I'm not really sure. I kind of had that concern for Ricochet, but he's turned heel and he's been doing great work as of late. With Speedball, he'll never get beyond a certain level. Like, he'll never be a world champion. I'm not sure he would ever be a world champion anyway, regardless of their promotion. But if you have him fighting for like the Continental title and the TNT title, that's like the perfect level for him. They just got to get him on TV consistently. They're doing a better job of that as of late with people like Powerhouse Hobbs and a few others as well. They got to do that with someone like Bailey. And I feel like he'll be over anyway because people are already familiar with him from the Indies and TNA and all those other promotions. But I do think he'll do well in AEW. Richie said that tag match last night had no business being as fun as it was. The drama near the final stretch was masterful. That was a really good match and probably the best thing on the entire show. Great title change, really, really good main event. Strong, hot main event. Was not expecting that to be as good as it was at all. And like I said in the tweet last night, probably the best women's tag team title match I've seen in WWE in a very, very long time. Very long time. I couldn't even tell you the last like truly great women's tag title match that we've gone on TV. And that would be one of them. Johnny said, what is your favorite AJ Styles match of all time? Probably him and Cena, honestly, from SummerSlam 2016. Like, I think before that, I would have given you a match from TNA. Him and Magnus, a.k.a. Nick Aldis, from Victory Road 2013. It's a TV match, but just the stakes of the winner going on to Bound for Glory to fight for the World Championship. No one's probably thought of it since it happened, but I have such a fond memory of that match from September of 2013. Love that match. That might be my favorite AJ Styles match. But him and Kurt Angle also had a lot of great matches. Him and Christopher Daniels had a great match. I think at Final Resolution 2012, I want to say that I really enjoyed. It was around there. I love that match. The match with Bully Ray at Bound for Glory 2013. Also at Slammiversary 2011, they had a Last Man Standing match that was great. He had another match in Ring of Honor, him and Jay Lethal for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Love that match. I thought that was a great match at Final Battle 2015. A lot of AJ's outside of WWE work was just incredible. But WWE would probably be, and just in general, I think that John Cena match, also because I was there in Brooklyn for it at SummerSlam 2016, and he won, it would probably be that one. Him and Rollins as well. Money in the Bank 2019, Alexis Dillon and I were all there for that match. That one spot where one of the greatest counters I've ever seen. Rollins was going for a curb stomp. Somehow, some way, AJ turned that into a Styles Clash. One of the greatest fucking counters I think I have ever seen. And it was amazing. So, yeah, that would also be on the list as well for Money in the Bank 2019. Grunt said, gonna have to pass on 2K25. I bought 2K24 immediately after Cody finished the story trademark, and it just hasn't clicked with me. Going to stick with 2K19 and fight forever. 2K19, I haven't really started. I didn't really play the 2K games until the until 2K fucking 22 came out. Until after like 2K20, it was a disaster. I played some of the other ones and I didn't really stick with them. Fine that you're passing on 2K25. I feel like they haven't made a lot of major changes for people to really go out of their way to get the games. I'm a casual gamer at best, so I enjoy all the games, specifically for GM mode, which, like I said, if you guys want to see me play some GM mode or just play 2K24 in general live here on the channel, I'm hoping to do it soon. Probably, maybe this week. I'm not 100% sure yet. It might be before then. Might be on Saturday. I don't know. So, I don't know. Keep an eye out for that. But that might be something I consider. And we can all play 2K24 together or some shit. Johnny said AEW has to drop the ball to the few people who jump ship. Or has dropped the ball is what you mean? Has dropped the ball to the few people who jump ship? I believe that's probably what you mean by that. I mean, they didn't drop the ball with like Punk. Punk, that whole situation was an external thing. Tony Khan dropped the ball there outside of the ring. His booking was fine. The shit outside of the ring he dropped the ball with. But some of the other people, like Ricky Starks, he dropped the ball with. Absolutely. That one I would agree with. Wrestling Fan 13 said, I have to go, Graham. I'll send you a PlayStation friend request soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you on the next stream. And he also said, have a great day too to everyone else in the chat. Wrestling Fan 13, if you're still here or listening after the fact, thank you so much for joining. As always, I appreciate the questions, appreciate the support. Be sure to wish Wrestling Fan 13 bid him farewell. Everyone in the chat that's still here, be sure to say goodbye to Wrestling Fan 13. We'll catch you on the next one. Daniel Malcolm said, Styles, Joe, and Daniels from Unbreakable 05. An amazing match. It's not my favorite AJ match. I've watched it and I love the match. I got to go back and watch that with Alexa soon. I don't think she's ever seen it. I don't think I've ever watched that match with her before, but it's a great match. Probably the best in TNA history. Johnny said, you have to check out AJ Styles' matches in New Japan. I've seen him in Nakamura, his last match there, and I think I watched him, whatever match he did at Wrestle Kingdom 2015 I watched. I forgot who he faced. Was it Kota Ibushi or something? I definitely watched that match because I watched that show. I didn't see the matches with, like, Okada, which I know were great. I watched all the shit that he did in Ring of Honor, though, around that point. Richie said, I think I might be the only person who likes the Cena Styles clash from Royal Rumble 2017 the most, and the fact that they never left the ring the entire time is such a cool piece of trivia. Yeah, they brought that up when I interviewed them both separately. They both talked about that, or specifically Styles, and how special that match was, and how cool that was specifically, the fact that they never touched the ground. But, no, I don't think you're in the minority there. I feel like there were a lot of people who prefer the Rumble 2017 match, because that probably is the best match. I just love SummerSlam 2016 because I was so shocked by the outcome and the fact that Styles won clean. Because Cena wasn't losing clean a whole lot back then. So that really made it that much more impactful. Fernando said, how old were you when you discovered wrestling, and what was the match or moment that made you the fan that you are today? I've said this before, so I'll keep it brief, but 2008 is when I first started watching wrestling full-time. I had gotten into it a little bit before that in like 2007. The Hornswoggle Illegitimate Son angle was one of the first things I remember watching from WWE. It was because I was already watching USA Network. I loved Monk. I loved Psych. I enjoyed Burn Notice. And I wanted to watch as many shows on the USA Network as possible, so I checked out Raw. Didn't really stick with it. The product was still too risque by that point. My parents would have never let me watch it. Understandably so, given some of the stuff they were doing. Like, they showed Melina. They didn't show her naked, obviously, but, like, she was getting undressed and Hornswoggle took her clothes. I think my dad saw that and was like, okay, what are you watching here? Like, it was like borderline porn. Like, and I'm fucking 12 years old, you know what I mean? I wouldn't let my kids watch that either. So I didn't really get into it until 2008. Before they went PG officially, it wasn't the PG rating. That played a part in it because they weren't doing risque shit like that anymore. But it was actually William Regal. When William Regal was the Raw GM, that was what got me hooked. I was watching USA Network, watching an episode of Monk, I think, and Regal was the Raw GM at that point. And he was the heel authority figure GM, and he faced Orton in his hometown of England, so I watched that show. And I was on spring break, too, from school, so it helped that I was able to watch the show live. So I watched the show, and the match was fine. Like, there wasn't really anything out of the ordinary about the match. But I love the fact that this authority figure was English. He was this heel English authority figure, and he was also wrestling. And honestly, like, that alone may have hooked me, but I think it was more so the fact I checked it out the following week, and he won King of the Ring. And when Regal won King of the Ring by, like, manipulating the whole thing, and he got himself in there, and just the storytelling there, he would come out and, like, get booed and shit. It was fucking awesome. He would turn the show off. I've talked about it a million times, and I told Regal this himself as well. That was what got me into wrestling. And if it wasn't for that shit, I probably would not be sitting here today. And I've thanked him for that personally. But yeah, that Regal storyline was what hooked me. And then I've been watching ever since. Alexis said a little bit a while ago, she said, I'm back. I haven't been listening for the past, 20 minutes. My coworkers and I were chatting while heating up lunch. Well, welcome back, Alexis. I hope you enjoyed lunch. Yeah, like Richie said, you missed me singing Bye 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 by NSYNC, and I did the whole choreography from Deadpool. You're gone for 20 minutes, you miss a whole bunch. So you can't ever miss a minute of these streams, whether it be live, especially, or after the fact. Johnny said, have you ever watched Triple X versus America's Most Wanted 6 Sides of Steel? No, I don't think I've seen the match. I know the match. I've gone back and watched some old TNA pay-per-views from 04, 05. I don't think I've seen that one. I could be wrong, though. If I did see it, I forgot, but I know it's a big match, a good match. I just haven't seen it. Johnny said, Burn Notice was one of my favorite shows of all time. I might have to go back and watch that. I never finished the show. I like the show, not nearly as much as I love Monk and Psych. I would watch it, and I would record the show and watch it. I kind of fell out of it after a while because I was just watching too much stuff at once as a kid. I'm going to have to go back and watch it because I love that show. And the guy who the main character on Burn Notice, actually, is voicing and has voiced the character on Invincible. And as soon as I saw the character, it's an animated show, so you can't see his face. But I heard him speak, And it was in one of the most recent episodes. I'm like, that is absolutely the fucking guy from Burn Notice. And sure enough, I looked it up, and it's the guy. And I haven't really seen that guy in anything else since Burn Notice, but he's in Invincible, which is pretty cool. Daniel said USA Network used to be so goated. USA Network had some amazing shows. Like, it was because of my love for USA that I became a wrestling fan. Again, if it wasn't for USA, not only just Regal, but USA itself, I probably would not be a wrestling fan. I don't think I would have eventually found it, because if I did, I would have found it a lot earlier than I did, because I wasn't watching wrestling with everyone else as a kid. A lot of my friends growing up in like elementary school, I was in 7th grade when I started watching it. But a lot of kids years before that were already watching it. It never really appealed to me. I would see the commercials for it on Raw, like when they were moving back to USA, the whole homecoming thing, and they were moving into their new house. I remember those commercials, but I was not watching WWE at that point. It just didn't really appeal to me until the Regal thing came around. But yeah, they had Monk, Psych, Burn Notice, Royal Pains I really liked. Walker Texas Ranger wasn't a USA original, but they would air replays of it. Loved Walker Texas Ranger. My grandfather got me into that. Suits I never watched. Grizzly Knows Best was when USA Network kind of started to go downhill. That show is fucking awful. Fuck Grizzly. We mentioned that. Let's get a fuck Grizzly Knows Best in the chat going, by the way. He's in jail now, so Grizzly Knows, behind bars is perhaps more fitting, but yeah, fuck Grizzly. Let's get that going in the chat. But before that, though, I think all the shows that I mentioned, I never watched Suits. I'm trying to think what else was on at that point. The psychic guy as well. Dead Zone or something like that. I didn't watch that show, but I heard that was good. NCIS, loved NCIS. I don't think USA ever aired new episodes of NCIS, but they would air replays before Raw, and it was great. NCIS is another guilty pleasure of mine. Johnny said Psych was good too. Johnny said, imagine a Monk-type character in wrestling. I don't know if that would be funny. I thought you were going to say imagine a Monk-Psych crossover, which I've been pitching now for 20 fucking years, and they don't respond to my calls. But a Monk-type character in wrestling would be interesting. Grunt said, could have done without the build-up to that match where Cena referred to Styles, the guy who beat him twice and won the WWE title, as just a guy from Georgia. The last time I truly felt Cena hate. Yeah, that was stupid. I remember what you're talking about. That was dumb. Richie said, without William Regal, we would not have met, and we would not have gotten the Ezekiel Jackson sing-along. Exactly. We have to thank Regal for that. We have to thank Regal for me being here, I guess, but also more importantly, the Ezekiel Jackson sing-along. Thank you, Lord Regal. I agree. Richie said, I've never turned my TV off faster than when the show popped up. Talking about Grizzly Knows Best. I don't think Connor's here anymore, but we're going to have to tell him, Alexis, that we're talking about Grizzly, because Connor knows how much I fucking hate Grizzly Knows Best. I would shit on that guy every time we would watch Raw, and then it would come on as soon as the show is over. I have never felt more irrationally angry in my life than when Grizzly Knows Best would come on the TV screen. It was just awful. Richie, or rather Fernando said, if someone asked you for advice on how to break into wrestling media and be as successful as you, what would it be? I get that question a lot. I mean, someone asked me about that on one of these streams, I think about a week or two ago. I mean, there really is no, one path. And I've done videos on this and stuff like that. But, there really is no one path. The one thing I tell people is get as much as experience as possible and repetition. There's a lot of different avenues. If you're talking about wrestling media with, articles and stuff, either create your own outlet, which I would recommend, which I've had for the last 15 years. And yeah, you might say to yourself, well, everyone's doing it. That's the excuse I always hear. And I'm not saying it's going to work, but you won't know unless you try. If you feel like it's not worth your time to waste, then don't do it. But the biggest thing, though, and this is something you can't teach, you have to enjoy it. If you're going to make content on YouTube, if you're going to write about wrestling, if you're going to tweet about wrestling, if you want to build a following by tweeting about it or get an Instagram page going about it, first of all, usually you're not going to find success overnight. I've been doing this for 15 years and I'm not exactly fucking Chris Van Vliet, you know what I'm saying? And I probably never will be, but I enjoy doing it and I want to be more successful, but you got to be able to enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I would not be sitting here right now. I would not be sitting here for 2 hours talking to you guys and answering questions and bullshitting and stuff because I don't like wrestling, so I'm not going to do it. But I love wrestling, which is why I do it. But you have to enjoy it. And you just got to do as much of it as possible. Reach out to people. If it's a writing thing, then send out as many, applications to these wrestling websites as you can. Try to write for them. And a lot of people always ask, well, how much does this pay? How much do you make off of this? How much money can you make off of that? Bro, for wrestling especially, it cannot be about the money. It's just not. For a long time, I did not make a dime off of anything I did, whether it was articles or videos or anything. I'm at a place now where I do, which is awesome. And I've, been able to build the brand to where it is now, which is great. But I think especially starting out, you're just not going to see that. Especially if you're starting out expecting to make money, that's just not going to happen. If you do it to make money, it will not work. Usually, I can tell you as just a matter of fact, it will not fucking work. You have to enjoy it to a certain degree. But you just have to be able to do a lot of it. I just never stopped writing. Not for that point, not for the purpose of being successful, but because I love doing it. And I probably do more than I should, but I love doing it. And I love connecting with people and, making friends here on YouTube and on Twitter and stuff like that. So, and especially now, honestly, like to be completely honest, I feel like with wrestling media itself, as far as like going to the press conferences and stuff like that, making a name for yourself, people might feel differently. I feel like it's easier now than it ever was before, just because these companies are so much more open with their media than they ever were before. 10 years ago, they were only really accepting media from like fucking USA Today, like big news outlets. But I go to these press conferences now, for better or for worse, you see a lot of content creators there, people that became big on YouTube or TikTok that have never written about wrestling in their life, and they don't need to. They just have a big following. And I feel like it's not easy. What they do is not easy. What I do is not easy. What people do to like write about wrestling is not easy. It's never going to be easy. But I'm just saying there's more avenues to get into it now than ever before. So again, if you're somewhat decent at it, and you'll always improve. I mean, I feel like every stream that we do here on the channel, we're trying to do something better and bigger and try to improve upon something that I did differently than last time. That's just life in general, I guess. But you just got to do as much of it as possible. Try to improve. You got to love it. And you got to keep going with it. Consistency. Quality is a part of it. But consistency is key. Like you guys know, especially at this point, I mean, this is still a recent thing that we go live on Tuesdays, but I have not missed a hashtag every fucking week since maybe like a decade ago. I've done a hashtag a week now for probably 10 years. There might have been 1 week where I didn't do it, or it might have been up late, but for the most part, we have not missed a week of hashtag in like 10 years. And people appreciate that sort of thing, no matter how small the audience is. Again, I don't have 1 million subscribers, but I think people appreciate that sort of thing, and I don't do it just for that. I do it because I like having a set schedule of when I know I'm going live and when people can expect it. And again, I think people appreciate consistency. So that's just a lot of rambling. I don't really know if that helped, but that's just some tips that came to the top of my mind. Abu Sika said, I loved Crisley Knows Best. Abu Sika, we love you, but you might get exiled from the chat. Not by me, but everyone else might have to send you packing. Richie said no. Daniel isn't a fan of it. Fernando said, beep you, Crisley. Abu Sika said, free Uncle Todd and Auntie Julie. No, keep them behind bars. I'm sorry. Fuck Crisley. Fernando said, how did that Crisley guy get his own show from what he was famous for? I have no idea. I don't want to know, but I have no idea. Let's get back to the questions here. Christopher L. from Facebook asked, what's going on, Graham? Hope your weekend went well and your Monday was good since it's the worst day of the week. Would you say WWE got incredibly lucky last year with WrestleMania? Most of the storylines weren't exactly high quality, and here was a lot of commotion and turbulence behind the scenes that made the whole thing seem like a major headache to put together. So the question is, despite the dilemmas going on, was WWE very fortunate that everything worked out in the end? So yes, I mean, it's not entirely luck. I would say WWE got lucky with the circumstances and the hand they were dealt last year. I mean, the pivot thing should have never happened. I mean, if they just stuck with the plan of Roman and Cody, it would have been fine. Honestly, they did make it better by turning Rock heel and getting him involved. It did make the storyline even more interesting than it was originally, so I will give them credit for that. They did luck into some stuff there, but like Punk getting hurt was not luck. That was the opposite of luck. They got fucked over in that case. But they had to pivot. Like we joke with the pivot stuff with The Rock. But they also had to pivot with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. And it led to Drew and Rollins. And they had a great feud and a great match at Mania that led to Drew winning the championship, the great Money in the Bank cash-in, which, again, I don't know if we would have gotten that had they not pivoted. So, yes, they did get very lucky with last year's Mania, which is why I think in retrospect, people look at this year's Road to WrestleMania. So far, like it's only been about a month, really, since the Rumble. If you count that as the Road to WrestleMania, maybe it's the Netflix Raw that you look at, I'm not sure. I think so far, the Road to WrestleMania has been good. Some people will say it's been underwhelming. I'm not disagreeing with you entirely, but what I'm also saying is when you compare it to last year, that's a very normal thing to think. Because last year, specifically with the Roman, Cody, Rock, Rollins stuff, it was so unpredictable. And it came completely out of left field. Punk getting hurt also threw a wrench into things. We didn't really know what was going on, but in the best way possible. But honestly, though, I feel like this year's card, from what's being rumored, we don't really know what they have planned. I don't know if it's a case of they don't know where they're going, or they're just doing a better job of keeping things quiet. I hope it's the latter, but it could be the former. I do think the potential's there for this year's Mania to be really, really good. Compared to last year, is it so far underwhelming? Perhaps. I feel like they need to take more swings, like with the Uso winning the Rumble thing. That was a big swing. Some people don't like it, which is fine. But I think Uso winning the Rumble was a lot better than John Cena winning. It was way too early for John Cena to be, overcoming the odds and whatever. He could very well win the Chamber this weekend. I'm expecting that. I would not have John Cena win the Elimination Chamber. I would not have Cena in that world title match at Mania. I would have him face Logan Paul or Drew or someone else. I think it's too soon for that. But honestly, though, every fucking year, we've done videos on this every year. Is the road to WrestleMania been good? It's been bad. It's been underwhelming. Even last year, at the end of the road to WrestleMania, Rock was overshadowing some stuff, Punk was overshadowing some stuff, and they weren't even really supposed to be the focal point. Every year we ask the question, is the road to WrestleMania been underwhelming? And sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes it's just over-exaggerated. I feel like this year it's over-exaggerated. Compared to, I would take this road to WrestleMania, what we've gotten so far, over a lot of the shit that we were dealt with in 2022, 2021, 2020, when it was just a fucking mess. An absolute mess. I'm not going to say it's better than last year, but I would also give it more time. It's only been a couple weeks since the Rumble. We'll see what happens at Chamber. That's a big turning point, one of the last major roads, or final pit stops, rather, on the road to WrestleMania. We got to get through that first, and we'll see how the card is shaping up after that. But we can revisit that question. That wasn't his question. He was talking about WWE getting lucky last year, which they did. I will agree with that. But as far as the underwhelming thing, which people are saying, I think it's a case of, like RJ said, some wrestling fans. First of all, Mr. Marceau, great to see you in the chat. Looking forward to chatting with you on Thursday. He said wrestling fans will never be happy. I'm not saying all fans, but some fans will indeed never be happy. Could not have said it better myself. Some people will just say, oh, it's not amazing. It's not shocking every single fucking week. That must mean the show is terrible. But what is their number one role in these streams, guys? I say it every single week. Not everything is amazing. Not everything is shit. Some stuff can be just good or okay. And I think the road to WrestleMania so far has been either good or okay. It's not been shit, and it's not been amazing. It's safe. It's fine to say that something falls in the middle sometimes. And RJ also said, let it play out, people. WrestleMania isn't until mid-April. You got to give it more time. We might end up at a point where the road to WrestleMania is lacking. Again, we need to revisit that question in a couple of weeks after Chamber. But right now, we really don't have a whole lot to go off of. And the card that is rumored for Mania, I'm actually personally interested in, but it will vary depending on the person. Christopher L's second question, what are your thoughts on the new lawsuit? Daniel Malcolm is saluting Mr. Marceau in the chat. Mr. Marceau joining us on a rare Tuesday here. Great to see him in the chat. But Christopher L's second question was, what are your thoughts about the new lawsuit with Ryan Nemeth and AEW? I think it's laughably embarrassing on Nemeth's part and truly shows how narcissistic and egotistical he is, thinking he was such a hotshot due to being buddy-buddy with the Young Bucks, now riding his brother's coattails in TNA. What about you? So we talked a lot about the Ryan Nemeth stuff earlier here in the chat. I had forgotten Christopher had asked about it. But I agree with everything that you said, and I echo everything I said earlier in the stream, in that it's completely stupid. The whole fucking lawsuit stuff is completely nonsensical. He's not a big name. For him to say that Tony Khan fired him over the fact that he's the reason why Punk got fired, there were a lot of reasons why Punk got fired or he left the company. The Ryan Nemeth thing may have been a reason for it, but I'm not saying, Tony Khan was in the wrong there, Punk was in the wrong there, Nemeth was in the wrong there, but the biggest thing that stood out to me from the lawsuit, I will say this again, I said this earlier, that if he was so worried If he was so worried about Punk going after him and he felt threatened for his life, okay, Ryan Emmeth, and that was in early 2023, why the fuck would he then tweet in June of 2023, literally the softest man alive, before deleting it? Why would he tweet that? According to the timeline of the lawsuit, he felt threatened by Punk earlier in the year. So then why would he tweet that? It's just a crop of bullshit, like we said. Punk left AEW a year and a half ago. It's been so long at this point that it's like, who gives a shit? Like, we're so far removed from it. Again, sometimes lawsuits take some time to, build some steam and get put together. I get that. But it's been a year and a half. Nemeth is not a big name. He's in TNA anyway. WWE, or rather AEW, is never going to bring him back. And why would they? He wasn't that good. He was the epitome of a fucking jobber. Like, it's not like he was a big star. Like, he's claiming that he was fired because of the Punk shit. Honestly, that sounds to me, I don't know what he's making money-wise these days. That sounds to me just like a reason to get a quick payday. I mean, seriously, like you said, he's friends with the Bucks, and I mean, he's suing the company that the Bucks are a part of. So technically, I don't know if they're still friends or not or whatever, but it sounds like a way to get paid quickly from this lawsuit by Punk. Like, why the fuck are you suing CM Punk? Who gives a shit? Who cares? At this point, who gives a fuck? Just get over it. It's really not that big of a deal. It doesn't have to turn into a lawsuit. There's not a lot of merit behind what he's arguing anyway. It's just a lot of he said, she said bullshit. And even if it is true, it just sounds ridiculous. It just sounds dumb. So it sounds like a cheap way to make a buck, and I don't really see it working anyway. Fernando said earlier in the chat, fans have to understand Cody finishing the story last year is going to be hard to top. Exactly. That road to WrestleMania with Cody specifically was so amazing, one of the best stories that WWE has ever told, accidentally or not, that it's going to be difficult to top. And that whatever we get this year will not exactly measure up to it. The Rock thing I'm still skeptical about. That shit, like I said earlier, I'm still not on board with. I'm kind of not a fan of that. I feel like that whole shit is forced. Makes no fucking sense. I want to take your soul. What the fuck does that even mean? Garbage. But the rest of the road to WrestleMania, I think, has promise. And I've been enjoying a lot of what we've been getting. Maybe not specifically on the SmackDown side of things, but on Raw recently anyway, I've been enjoying what we've gotten on the road to WrestleMania. Abu Sika said, speaking of Yeet, Jay's people are doubting me promos are getting old fast. Oh, when Jay says, oh yeah, people are doubting me. I said this on Twitter last night. I'm not saying the feud sucks, because it doesn't. Because again, not everything is awful, not everything is amazing. The Jey Uso-Gunther feud, we have 2 months to go until Mania. It's on April 19th and 20th. Today is February 25th. They need to develop this feud more to make it interesting. The idea that Jay's never beaten Gunther is great. The match will be good. I don't think it'll be great. I think Jey Uso and Gunther could be good. Their last matches were not amazing, but they should be good. Okay, how are we going to fill the gap, bridge the gap between now and then? That's what I'm kind of skeptical of, because more of Jey Uso's, oh, they're doubting me, and him just facing mid-carders while Gunther faces Tozawa, which was really well done. I thought that was really well done last night. I like that. But like Jay coming out to make the save, like they can't be doing that shit every fucking week. They need to kind of add some more depth to that. Jey Uso needs to develop more on the mic. I said when he won the Rumble, I'm in favor of this. The guy is over. People want to see him win the World Championship. But it is now up to Jey Uso in WWE to make Jey Uso more of a main event performer. Because on the mic, he's not, and in the ring, he's not. He's not going to improve in the ring between now and Mania, so that's kind of a lost cause. But on the mic, they can have him, and he specifically can cut better promos. That is something that he can improve upon. And hopefully we do see that more in the months to come. And it's not just more of the same with, oh, people are doubting me. They can't keep telling the same story and doing the same segment week after week. I don't think they will. I'm just saying as a point of reference, they need to be careful not to run the shit into the ground. And by Mania, because Mania is also farther away this year. It's not late March. It's not even early April. It's at the end of April. And this is also part of the problem with that. Yeah, it makes the road to WrestleMania longer, but it gives us more time to get sick of certain storylines. And by Mania, we're just like, get this shit over with. It gives some storylines more time to simmer, but with Uso and Gunther, who are already feuding even before the Rumble, they need to be careful not to run that into the ground. Moving back up a little bit, Richie said, I'm going to angrily tweet my displeasure about WWE. Grr. Sound like Triple H from 2014. Richie also said, I think the build is fine, barring, of course, or barring. I can never pronounce that word correctly. I think it's barring. No holds barred. Barring, of course, a few things such as Io Sky and The Rock, but everything else has been fine. I agree. He also said WrestleMania 40 was lightning in a bottle, the way that everything worked out. Comparing the current unfinished build to last year's culmination, of course, is going to make it seem like it's lacking. Exactly. Got to give it some more time. And maybe the end game is not worth it. Maybe the end game ends up being shit. Maybe by April we're saying, hey, this road to WrestleMania has sucked. But ask me again in April. It's still too soon for that. We're just getting started here. Fernando said, if you were Tony Khan, how would you have handled the Punk backstage drama? Exactly what RJ said in response to your question right after that. He said, squash the beef when it was initially a problem. I mean, there's a lot of issues they would need to correct there, but that was one of the main ones. Squash the beef when it was still simmering. And he never really not publicly addressed it, but never really addressed it internally, have them sit down, get over their shit. Had they done that, I honestly think there's a really good chance Punk would still be there, that he would never have left for WWE if they had gotten over their shit. So that's the biggest thing I think that I would have done if I was Tony. Have them deal with their shit, deal with the consequences, and then just move on. And maybe turn it into a storyline, which Punk apparently was okay with doing, the Bucks were not, which is also just kind of dumb. That just sounds like high school level shit. Let me backtrack a little bit here. Average Grunt said, gotta charge my phone soon, so in case you stop streaming while I'm gone, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Graham. Thank you, Grunt. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining us as always. I love me a great, God, what's that movie? That's the Jim Carrey movie, The Truman Show. Truman Show reference. Love me a good Truman Show reference. Richie was responding to Fernando and Grunt. Daniel said, Jay still blames a timing issue on why his match with Jimmy last year stunk. What does that even mean, LOL? He was saying that, yeah, he does still blame the timing. He was saying that they didn't get a lot of time for their match, and if they were given more time, it would have been great. No. Jimmy and Jay, I was optimistic they would go in there and have a good match, but they're too similar in the ring. It's like putting Matt against Nick of the Young Bucks. It would probably be the exact, like a mirror opposite match, which can sometimes make for a great match, but it could also make for a fucking boring match, and I feel like that's what we got with the Usos. They also went to the well of like the cinema shit too much, where like they took their time being dramatic and just no one gave a fuck. Jimmy Uso was a loser anyway, which is why I don't really care about Jimmy Uso challenging for the United States Championship anytime soon. They kind of went too hard on the, drama nonsense there with those two. It was just garbage. So the build was fine. The actual match left a lot to be desired. The outcome was correct, but it kind of ended in like, what happened? You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things where it ended anticlimactically. They don't have a lot of great moves. Their movesets are not great as it is individually. So when you put that together in a match against each other, I think if they had a rematch today and you give them 20 minutes, if Jay still blames the timing, you give them more time, I still think the match would be as bad, if not worse. Definitely the most underwhelming match of WWE's in 2024. No doubt about that to me. JCW555, he asked on from Twitter, he said, hey, Graham, hope you and Alexis are doing well. Do you think that the honeymoon phase, and this is where we go to the title of the video, do you think that the honeymoon phase with Triple H being head of creative is over? I feel like I've seen criticism of his booking style increase substantially recently, and it being compounded by SmackDown's ratings not being great and Raw's Netflix viewership seemingly being disappointing doesn't seem to be helping. What major changes does WWE, or rather Triple H, need to make in regards to his booking style? I'll get to that in one moment. Richie said Jimmy and Jay had a better match together at the Rumble than they did at Mania. Crazy. Yeah, if you're talking about when they started the Rumble, you're right. That was better than the Mania match. Richie also said, I think Lil Wayne ruined it, to be honest. That didn't help. RJ with his bullshit saying, I agree with Jay, needed more time. Yeah, my ass. Give it 30 minutes. I doubt it would be an instant classic. But anyway, back to the question. Is the Triple H honeymoon phase of creative already over? The answer is yes. I would say yes to that. Let's be honest here. Triple H has been in charge of creative now for WWE, almost 3 years? It's been 2.5 years. He took over the book in mid-2022. Yeah, Vince came back, but the product never really truly suffered, aside from the whole pivot thing, which happened even after Vince left, by the way. Yeah, hopefully Mr. Marceau is trolling, but I'm not sure. He does that from time to time. He can be a pain in the ass sometimes. But anyway, Vince, even when the pivot thing happened, that was after Vince left. So it was one of those things where I think definitely Triple H's honeymoon phase ended a while ago. People were criticizing the product even then, and some of the stuff we were getting going into WrestleMania. That was definitely part of the problem, where what we were getting was not entirely awesome. And, that honeymoon phase, I think, would have ended a while ago. As far as the criticism piling up, that's just how the internet works. Yeah, the honeymoon phase might be over, but I think part of the problem is as well, when something goes wrong, like the SmackDown segment on Friday, I will not sit here and tell you that the entire company is on a creative down spiral. But that's what people will tell you if you look at social media. If you look at Twitter and all these other places and whatnot, people will tell you WWE has been awful. Honestly, though, those were the people that never really enjoyed Triple H's style of booking in the first place. And that's fine. But people look to those people as if, oh yeah, it's all bad all of a sudden. And people have this mentality like, I must go with the flow of what I see on social media. It's awful, so it must be bad. Honestly, even AEW is subjectively not nearly as hot as they were a couple of years ago. But some of the hate towards AEW is also overblown because that's the narrative that, oh, company sucks, also must shit on it. Yeah, shit on, I'm just telling you personally, what you see on these streams, what Mr. Marceau and I talk about on Thursdays, what I write about in my articles and whatever else, everything I talk about, I'm just calling it as I see it. Yes, AEW has had some struggles. There is some stuff on their shows weekly that I enjoy. WWE, I personally enjoy more overall than AEW, but WWE also is not without its flaws. I mean, WWE's product has had flaws dating back to when Triple H first took over. Honestly, I feel like that honeymoon phase, yes, it's already over, but it didn't just recently end. I feel like the honeymoon phase for Triple H, as far as like, oh yay, he's here, Vince is gone, Vince bad, which he is, and he was. Triple H is here, must be better, and it is. But after a certain point, you start to compare the product to other points, and you have to compare it to what Triple H has been doing in the last 2.5 years, and not just to what Vince was doing. When you compare the product now to what it was 5 years ago, of course it's going to be better, no shit. Like, the product was pretty fucking bad in 2018, 2019, 2020, early 2021. It was pretty fucking garbage, okay? But after a certain point, he's been here for so long that you're like, okay, we kind of need to look at this with a different curve, a different lens. Not everything he does is going to be amazing. Nothing is always amazing. Even the Bloodline stuff has kind of petered out. It's had better days. They need to move on with that. They need to do a better job of that. They culminated that story. The Rock stuff is confusing. But there's enough stuff going on Raw right now, some stuff on SmackDown, but the overall WrestleMania card that has me excited, where it's not nearly as, okay, the company is bad, I prefer AEW's product over this. At least for me. And if you prefer AEW's product, that's totally fine. That's more of a style thing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you WWE is a better product than AEW. I'm telling you the WWE is still definitely hotter than AEW. They're doing better numbers, even with WWE's ratings being in question, like you said. Yeah, the SmackDown rating went up, but it's still lower than what it was a year ago. He mentioned that in his question. The Netflix numbers being disappointing, but still they're on Netflix. It's better than it was on USA. It's still a problem, and they should absolutely be concerned about that. AEW, same thing. Like, their ratings are awful, and they need to figure out, I mean, at least compared to what they were, they need to figure out what's wrong there, but at least they got that, renegotiation. They re-signed with Warner Brothers Discovery. They got all that money from re-signing with them late last year, so it's not entirely negative, because if it was, they would have been booted off the station 4 or 5 months ago. So there's always stuff to criticize. There's always stuff to kind of point to, like, oh, they could be doing a better job of this. They could be doing a better job of that. And I completely agree with that. But at the same time, though, I feel like with WWE's product, at the moment anyway, I feel like it's just people saw the Rock segment on SmackDown. And now, listen, I think the biggest thing is you asked also, what does Triple H need to change in regards to his booking style? Not being so formulaic. Because someone had also told me, like, with the women's stuff, he needs to do a better job of the women. That's number one. Do a better job of the women. His long-term storytelling is good. Do not take 10 years to get to a certain fucking story. Like, are we going to really take 10 years to have the A-Town Down Under split up? Their tag team split up? Hopefully. I mean, if that's what it feels like. They've been teasing tension for a fucking year. Grayson Waller theory, at this point, I don't really give a shit about that. But when you bring in so many new people, you call up so many new people, you need to find a spot for people on the show. He was doing a really good job of that for a while, where even if someone wasn't involved in a big segment on the show every week, they were at least on the show. We really haven't seen that. There's certain people that will disappear from the show for weeks and months at a time. What the fuck are we doing with the Wyatt Six? They were the hottest thing last summer. What happened there? Someone got hurt? Okay. Why have they not wrestled the match in 2 or 3 months? It's a 6-person group, 5-person group. They can have other members wrestle. It just kind of felt like they gave up with that. That's a problem. You know? Tony Khan was the same way. When Tony Khan first took over AEW, it was easy because he had a smaller roster and it's easier to book these people, but he brought more people in, lost interest in certain shit, and one man can't control it all. I think assigning someone to write SmackDown or Raw is a smart thing to do, to kind of focus in on those shows and really give them more renewed effort and emphasis, and I like that a lot. Road Dogg, I don't know if it's the guy to do it, but we'll see how SmackDown shakes out. SmackDown being 3 hours is part of the problem. SmackDown at 3 hours sucks. SmackDown being a 3-hour show is not good at all. Make SmackDown more worthwhile. The difference between Raw and SmackDown is like 2 totally different companies. So that's 1. And 2, more emphasis on the women. 3, do not have to tell 5-year-long story arcs. If this is building The Rock and Cody in 5 years, who gives a shit? We should have gotten Rock and Roman this year, let alone Cody and Rock. They should have done that at the Rumble or at SummerSlam last year. But Rock, God forbid, doesn't want to work a fucking B-level pay-per-view or anything but WrestleMania. He's not even wrestling at Mania, it seems like. He's just going to be around. Shit doesn't have to culminate in matches. What the fuck does that even mean? Well, what it means is he's probably not wrestling at WrestleMania. Are we being worked? Sure. I mean, it's possible. Anything is possible. I didn't get that sense from what we saw at that press conference with The Rock after SmackDown on Friday. I think it's more of a case of they don't really know where they're going with the whole Rock thing. They need to figure that shit out. So figure out where you're going. Have some more balls when it comes to The Rock telling him no. Do not just give him I know it's The Rock and he always benefits the product. But they should be working with him like, no, Dwayne, we already have our plans for this pay-per-view. We're not going to have you ruin it by coming in and fucking taking over and doing whatever the fuck you want. Like, they need to have more, they need to figure out what they're doing there and then go with that. And not immediately change course just because The Rock wants to come back. It happened last year. It looks like it's happening this year too. That's Vince McMahon shit. Do not fucking change your mind. Triple H does a great job of seeing things through, referencing stuff, making sense of stuff. I appreciate all of that. But he isn't without his flaws. Making the women more of a priority, giving them better storylines, that I completely agree with. He absolutely needs to do a better job of that. Because the women's mid-card stuff, it's only just really begun. It's new. The women's U.S. has been fine. Chelsea Green and Meechin, they need to move the fuck on. But like Lyra, that whole thing, they gave Lyra and Dakota a rematch on Monday. And the only reason why I was okay with it last week when Dakota Kai won, I was thinking Ivy Nile should have won. But the only reason why I was slightly okay with it was because, okay, maybe it's a case of, maybe Dakota Kai and Lyra are going to run it back from last month and get more time. They're going to get more time. Guess what? They went shorter this time than they did for the original match. They went like fucking 7 minutes, and it was a good match. But at the same time, I'm thinking, why the fuck would we even bother having them run it back? It's stupid. That was just dumb. And then Ivy Nile runs in. Why would you even have her lose last week in the first place? It's like, okay. And then someone said to me, they're going to do a triple threat. No one's going to care. No one will give a shit. Ivy Nile already lost. Dakota Kai has lost twice. What is the point of doing a triple threat? How could they even build to a triple threat? That would even make sense. Dakota Kai's a loser. She's lost twice now to Lyra. Ivy Nile lost last week. She hasn't won a match that mattered yet. She eliminated her from the Rumble. What did he fucking do? Like, again, these aren't the big issues with the product, but there's stuff that he needs to pay attention to and do a better job with. So, long story short, I'll get back to the chat in a second. But is the honeymoon phase over? Yes. But I would also argue it's been over for a while. And I feel like people are just piling on to say, like, okay, this segment sucks. Let's start shitting on the entire show. Raw last night I thought was fine. Raw is usually a pretty good show. SmackDown has been bad. Even before the Rock stuff, SmackDown has largely been a completely pointless show for most of 2025. They need to fucking fix that. Making it go back to 2 hours would be a first step. But that's probably not happening anytime soon. Backtracking a little bit. A lot of chats here while I was on my rant there. Let's see. I gotta move back just a little bit. Richie said 60 minutes in the Tokyo Dome, brother. Talking about Jay and Jimmy, yeah. Fernando also said, what percentage do you give WWE making Jay and Jimmy champions at Mania? Extremely high. I think Jimmy at this point is winning the U.S. Championship. Jay is absolutely winning the World Championship. I agree with RJ. Yes to Jay. I hope not for Jimmy. He said not digging the big Jim random push when no one cares. He's getting decent reactions, but it's fucking, it feels forced. The Jimmy Uso push, putting him over Drew McIntyre. I know it was a fluke win and Drew attacked him afterward, but it was not good. That was not good. So I would definitely, I would definitely not have Jay, or rather Jimmy, win the United States Championship at Mania. And I do think there's a high percentage that they both win belts and both walk out of Mania as champions and have the big moment where they're celebrating with their belts. Very, very high. I just don't really want to see that with Jimmy. Daniel Malcolm asked, have they really not acknowledged Black History Month all month? I don't think so. I don't think they have. I've seen people say that. I don't think that's a exaggeration. I don't think they have. That's also a problem. WWE has done that every single year now for, a decade, 2 decades? It's every February they would put up video packages acknowledging this black athlete from their past or current black athlete, whatever. I don't think they've done any of that. They did it for Martin Luther King Day. They always put up a video package for that, which is nice. But that stuff does matter. Representation obviously matters. But this month, they just haven't really done anything to honor it. I don't know if they've done stuff on their social media that I've missed. It certainly has not been on the main TV shows. So that's kind of a fucking problem. I don't know why they haven't done that. Very strange. You might be saying to yourself, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Then you're probably not someone that falls into the category that would care, because it probably doesn't affect you. I'm not going to say here I'm offended by it. Obviously, I'm a random white guy, but I'm just saying it is concerning that they did not mention it at all, and February's over in 3 days. So I don't know why. That's a big question mark, and that's certainly an issue as well. I agree. Johnny also said, how do you feel about interim titles? Not a fan. AEW did way too many of them. I know UFC does that sort of shit. In wrestling, it just doesn't make sense. Just crown a new fucking champion, and then the ex-champion can come back and challenge for the belt that they had to give up. In wrestling, I just don't really feel like it works. Maybe once in a while, but AEW just kind of went crazy with it, and it was just dumb. Richie said, once Tonga Loa returns, the Bloodline story will pick back up again, Graham. Mark my words. The Tonga Loa missing component. Listen, the Bloodline storyline is going to pick up again once Tonga Loa is back. I agree with that. RJ said, Twitter is tough. Mass hysteria when people don't form personal opinions, just follow what others say. Twitter is, that's social media in a nutshell, but definitely Twitter. When someone shits on something, that was part of the reason why with the Rock segment on SmackDown, I did not go on Twitter. One, I did not want to be spoiled, but two, after the Rock segment happened, I went live here on YouTube without seeing a single thing because I didn't want to be influenced by other people's opinions. I just wanted to tell, because I thought people might have liked what we saw. Genuinely, I'm thinking maybe I'm the only one that thinks this is trash. I don't know because I didn't look, and I'm glad I didn't. Because they want people to form their own personal opinions, not go off of what I say or me go off of what other people say. There's going to be plenty of stuff that people like that other people do not. We should go back to that and not just have this bombarding, we can all team up and shit on everything together just because it's the cool thing to shit on this storyline or shit on this wrestler, shit on this company. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, that's also cool. Now, sometimes there will be certain things that a lot of people agree on, but it's the case with certain movies, like the whole Captain America thing. We talked about it last week. I feel like when that movie first came out last week, or a week and a half ago, it was like, oh, this movie's shit. Nah, it's just the cool thing to say Marvel's dead. But if you actually saw the movie, it was not shit. That's just telling me you either did not see the movie, or you saw the movie, and you just want to jump on the bandwagon of the MCU being dead, the Marvel being dead. And it has its issues, but again, it's not completely all terrible. We just had fucking Deadpool and Wolverine a year ago that made a shit ton of money and was a great movie. So is it alive, is it back, or is it dead? Which one is it? Pick a lane. Habu Sika said, make SmackDown great again. Get a blue hat. I'm wearing a gray hat. Make SmackDown great again. We'll get a blue hat that says make SmackDown great again. And what would that be? SMSGA instead of... That would be interesting. Johnny said, I want to see 10-year story arcs. I'll be fucking dead by the time they blow off anything. Daniel Malcolm, he was agreeing with RJ. Abu Sika said, I miss Tamina. Abu Sika, I think you're the only one. So you're the one that misses Tamina. RJ said, good match. Finish was terrible. What match were you talking about, RJ? You talking about Jay and Jimmy? I'm curious what you're talking about. Daniel said, what happened in all ranting today, GSM? I lost track. This question got me passionate, so I guess I'll get to Fernando's comment in a second. I did say that we wouldn't rant today. We were going to take a chill here on a Tuesday, but I lied. What did Eddie Guerrero used to say? I lied. I've seen that video shared a whole bunch, but yeah, no, I lied. We did have a rant in there just because, the main question that I have in the title of the video, which I just answered, I think people just jump to conclusions and people can't form their own opinion. It's getting worse. I mean, media literacy is a very real thing. You guys have no issue with it, obviously, but there's a lot of people I see on social media that just cannot understand. They either jump on to everyone else's opinions, or they don't understand that something is fake or not real, and they just jump to conclusions without actually sourcing what they're reading. It's very bad these days. Fernando said, "Do you think Triple H? Do you think Triple H of being? I don't know what you're saying. Do you think Triple H of being Eric Bischoff, meaning after the NWO, his booking was trash? Could it be the same for Trips post Bloodline? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. No, it's not nearly as bad. Eric Bischoff post NWO was just garbage, which it was. WCW, a lot of what they did post NWO was not good. Like, they had one good storyline. I mean, first of all, the Bloodline stuff Triple H came into. He didn't come up with that. He continued it, but he didn't make it up. He didn't, come up with it because he wasn't writing SmackDown or writing WWE at that point, late 2020. But no, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff post Bloodline that WWE is doing well that I'm excited about. I don't think it's the Bloodline's over. Okay, everything's awful. I think if someone were to tell you that, they're just over exaggerating. I mean, you can feel however way you want. Like I said, I guess it's a matter of personal preference. But I think just to say they had one great storyline in the Bloodline that has carried the product, which is true. But there's a lot of great storylines stemming out from that, with Rollins, with Punk, with Cody, that I'm still excited about. Kevin Owens, that whole thing started because of the Bloodline. It doesn't deal with the Bloodline now, but it started with the Bloodline, with him, being attacked by them, and then Cody Rhodes being friends with Roman, or at least aligning with him briefly. Owens didn't like that. They've done a great job of branching out storylines from the Bloodline that they've capitalized on and told great stories with. So I don't think it's a case of they've had one great storyline, and then after it's over, the product is shit. WCW, if you watch Nitro from that period or the pay-per-views from post-NWO, it was a lot fucking worse. The Bloodline had a 10 times better run. The NWO was a much bigger stable, obviously, and better probably early on. But the matches the Bloodline have had, the overall story of the Bloodline is 1,000 times better than the NWO's. The NWO's was great for maybe about 6 months to a year, maybe max. But then they started to run it into the ground, overexpose them, add 1 million members, and it was garbage. The Bloodline was much better booked overall, in my opinion. That might be a hot take, but that's how I feel. Fernando said we need Veer to return to Save Mania. Yes, we do. Bring in Veer. Tell RJ that. We went on a Veer rant on Wrestle Rant Radio, and like Daniel said as well, we need Veer in the infamous Tonga Loa. We need Veer versus Tonga Loa at WrestleMania. I feel like that could save WWE's creative woes right now. RJ may not agree, but it's the truth. At Iwagu91, last 3 questions from the document of questions here today for the stream. His first question was, do you see Izzy Moreno, Bayley's superfan, signing with WWE when she comes of age? Yeah, honestly, I feel like they would probably sign her. I don't know how good she is. I haven't watched her progress. I don't really care. But I feel like WWE would sign her for the story alone of at some point facing Bayley. Even though it was 10 years ago at this point that they had that whole moment at TakeOver Respect. The whole Sasha thing, and she was crying. Yes, I do think WWE at some point, she's been involved with WWE, they've used her for some stuff and acknowledged her and shit. I do feel like at some point they will sign that Izzy girl. Again, she might be fucking garbage. Maybe she's great. I don't know. I don't follow her work, so I have no idea. But I do feel like it's pretty likely at some point WWE will bring her in. Richie said, we need Dennis Rodman to join Solo's bloodline until Tonga Loa returns. If you want to follow in the NWO's footsteps, you could absolutely do that. Dennis Rodman. I mean, who would be the equivalent of Dennis Rodman in 2025 in the NBA? RJ can probably answer that question. Would it be Devin Booker or someone like that? I know Devin Booker's not the Dennis Rodman of 2025. I'm terrible with the NBA, comparisons and whatnot. But there's got to be a better comparison than that. Who would be the Dennis Rodman for WWE's NBA player in the Bloodline circa NWO of 2025? That's my question. Richie said Sasha taking Izzy's headband and making her cry was the only time I cheered for her, I swear. Bronny James? Oh, God. Bronny James in the Bloodline? Yeah, you might be onto something there. Draymond Green? I don't know who that is. But Dennis Rodman was more of a notable name when he was on the Bulls and shit, right? So I feel like if I don't know who Draymond Green is, I feel like that probably would. I know who Bronny James is, for better or for worse, but I do not know who Draymond Green is. I can't say I knew Dennis Rodman in the 90s. I was barely alive at that point, so I can't really say to that effect. But there's got to be, Bronny James might make sense. Maybe Draymond Green, maybe I just don't pay enough attention for that to, resonate with me, but I'm not sure. Their second question, your thoughts on if Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa occurs at WrestleMania? Yes, I do think we get that at WrestleMania. Who's the babyface, who's the heel? I don't know. It might just be a heel versus heel match. WWE's done a lot of it. We saw it last night with Braun Breaker and Dominic Mysterio. Would they do it at WrestleMania with that dynamic? They could. I think that's the match regardless of who turns. If anyone turns, I feel like it's Solo. Jacob is more over as a babyface, but they need credible heels at the top. Solo clearly is not that guy, so I would keep Jacob a heel, honestly, for right now. And you can attempt to turn Solo. I don't know if anyone would really cheer him. But yeah, I think Jacob versus Solo is definitely happening at WrestleMania 41. Daniel said Draymond is on the Warriors with Steph. Steph Curry? Okay, all right. I've never heard of him. Never heard of him. Richie said Lonzo Ball. I know Lonzo Ball from his father being on Raw that one time back in 2017. His crazy fucking dad. Lonzo Ball might make sense. Is he still, is Lonzo Ball still good? Is he still relevant? I think I saw the dad doing an interview recently, but back when, he was on Raw back in 2017, it was a big deal that he was joining the NBA and the whole high school, college athlete shit. I don't know. I have no idea. Daniel said, used to kick people in the gonads all the time. Draymond? Interesting. Is that his gimmick? Justin Fleming asked, they left out Charlotte and Bayley when they were figuring out who attacked Jade, just Nia Jax, Tiffany, and Liv and Raquel. Charlotte was hurt at that point. The old man lost his foot? What the fuck? You talking about the Lonzo Ball's dad? He lost his foot. How the fuck did that happen? Yeah, with the whole Jade attack thing, they never really questioned Bayley. I know Bianca and Bayley got along for War Games, but you're right. They should have at least delved into that a little bit deeper to see if Bayley was worth trusting or whatever. They never really exhausted her as an option. They did Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, and then they found out it wasn't them. But yeah, they never really went after Bayley, and Charlotte, I could see why they would leave out, just because she wasn't active at that point. She was out injured anyway. Abu Sika said, Lonzo's dad just had his foot amputated. Medical thing. LeVar Ball. Okay. That's the dad. Yeah, LeVar Ball, I remember that. Medical thing. Damn, that's crazy. Is he still, super, energetic and shit? I'm looking this up now. LeVar Ball. Everyone heard about his amputated foot. That's fucking nuts. Was it a health thing? Obviously, it was a medical issue. I know you said that. I'm looking at the article from from USA Today. TMZ reported about it. Oh, Lonzo's on the Bulls? I didn't know that. I did not. Oh, okay. It says in the article, it's not clear what medical issue led to Ball's amputation. Well, that sucks. That's unfortunate. Man, I did not know that. That's pretty crazy. Let's see. Let's pull the chat back up here, and we'll close down with one more question. Richie said, y'all remember when Lince Dorado wanted to fight Izzy's dad? Yes, I do remember that. That guy seems like a goof. I remember that, though. Lince Dorado is actually back in WWE. He's actually working in NXT as a coach now, I think. So Izzy's dad, I don't think they go to the NXT shows anymore, but the way that the parents would kind of use Izzy to, make money off of her and shit. I would go to WrestleCon, and she might still do this, and if she makes money, then cool. She's older now, but when I was at WrestleCon a couple of years ago, she had her own stand, and the parents were there, as they should be, obviously. The kid wasn't of age, but people are paying to meet a fucking 14-year-old. It was so weird. Like, RJ can attest to this. When we went to the Rumble in 2018, this was years before that, she was still probably like 9 or 10 years old, max. And we were waiting for an Uber after the Rumble, and people were running up to this girl, Izzy, wanting to get a picture with her. And I'm thinking, I get it. She's appeared on NXT TV before. Nothing against her personally. I don't know her personally. But that's fucking weird. And also, you're the parents. Why would you want these weird-ass, grown, smelly, odd men, wrestling fans, and there's a lot of them, a majority of the wrestling fans are fucking weird like that. Why would you want these people taking a picture with your 10-year-old daughter? And they're paying for it, too? That's even weirder. That was very strange to me. Yeah, RJ says he's dying. He remembers what I'm talking about. This is very fucking weird. He also said LaMelo, Jello, and then Lonzo. How do you pronounce the middle child's name, or the name that you put in the middle there? Is it Gello? I can't imagine it's Jello. LaMelo, Jello, and Lonzo. It's got to be Gello. Daniel also said LeVar has actually posted a video since, still as energetic as ever. Oh my God, I'm sure. That guy was that is one of the weirdest names, one of the weirdest segments, not names. LeVar's, was it LeVar's? Yeah, that's the dad's name. LeVar's segment on Raw back in 2017, one of the weirdest segments in Raw history. So it is Jello, Gel-O. Yeah, I mean, it's not spelled like Jello, Jello, but RJ's selling it's like gel, like hair gel, and then O. That is bizarre. That's fucking stupid. Richie also said, yeah, those parents were dweebs. I don't know if they still are. I don't know if they're still doing that sort of thing, but I would see them. I would see them at WrestleCon. I'm thinking, like, you want people to pay for a picture with, like, your daughter that should be in, like, fucking middle school? Like, is a high schooler? Like, that's weird to me. It's not like she's from Stranger Things. You know what I mean? Like, she's a wrestling fan. I mean, I guess make whatever money you can, but that whole thing was weird to me. Anyway, last question from at Iwagu91. Do you think that Shawn Michaels will return the favor from 2011 by being the one to induct Triple H into the WWE Hall of Fame? Yeah, we talked about this, Mr. Marceau, and I talked about this about a month ago, like who will induct Triple H into the Hall of Fame. I could see Stephanie being the one just because husband and wife, obviously. Shawn Michaels, I think, would, to me, make the most sense. Triple H inducted him into the Hall of Fame back in 2011, like you said. They're very close. So yeah, it's probably either Stephanie or Shawn. If I had to take a guess, it's probably going to be Shawn, but I could see it being Stephanie because that's his wife. So, I'll probably go Stephanie. I could see Stephanie being the one to induct him. And Shawn returning the favor would make sense, though. Ray said, look up Tweaker by Jello. And Daniel said, I might swerve, bend that corner, whoa. Is this something, before we head out here on the stream, because we're going to end here in a moment. We've gone through all the questions. Is this Tweaker by Jello thing a song I can look up on YouTube? Because if it is, I will play it here on the stream. I will lower the volume, but you can get my live reaction to it, though. RJ, Daniel, Richie, you're in the chat. Let me know. Is that something... I don't know that you guys are completely over my head here. It's a song. Should I live stream myself watching it though? Yes, it is. Yes. RJ said yes. So it's on YouTube. It's something I can look up on YouTube. I need this. Play it. All right. Hold on. Is it something I should probably delete my search history for after I'm done with this? Let's see. Tweaker by Hold on. Let me turn down the desktop audio a little bit. Tweaker by Jello.
Jello, what do
Can you guys hear
like
this?
You're going to bring to the game?
I need like a lyric. Yeah, move it up a little bit.
And I heard that she wanna show me who she be. I'm kinda fucking with it. Show me some more. Bitch,
This is the kid?
Give a fuck the story wrote. You wanna tweak it over me and I'ma show you how that go. Like the money in my pockets blow. They having combos about
The music sounds fine. I don't get it. What's the problem with the music?
Tell me what they talking about. I ain't fucking listening. Let your thoughts run your.
Hold on. Let me pull up the lyrics while I'm watching the video. Jello tweaker lyrics. Let's look this up.
But ain't touching dividends, nigga. I ain't from the south, but kick it with my Memphis twin, nigga. I can't take a loss, I'm always going for the win. I've been geeked up in this booth, I got my blood pack for the starter, nigga. Don't be had to know that, put some hold up.
I can't even read the lyrics. There's too many bad words in here. I can't. You guys are gonna get me in trouble. What is going on? I hear it. Alexa said she ran back to the chat because, yes, I don't even know what this is. It's the middle son. LeVar wrote this as a backup plan. Oh, okay. I need a GSM live reaction. Okay. This is the greatest day of my life. I need you to memorize this and sing it on next Tuesday. Okay, so if you can't hear it, because I didn't want to play the complete song because I don't want to get copyright stricken here. This is what we're going to end with, okay? And this is why you should tune in every Tuesday. RJ, this is why you should tune in every Tuesday. Richie, Daniel, everyone, Abushika, if you're not here right now, you're watching after the fact, this is what you get on the Tuesday streams. I will not play the video because I don't want to get copyright stricken, but I will read the lyrics here. So, the lyric that I think it was Daniel or something, Daniel wrote the lyric earlier. It's because it's the first line of the song. I don't know if I could say this with this. RJ texted me to saying that he's legit dying of laughter. I don't know if I could do this. I'm reading the lyrics now. I'm like, I don't know if I could keep a straight face. All right. Let's try to go over the lyrics and we'll see if this works. Not hearing it, bro. The music was... What even was that? It's a rap by the Middle Ball Brother. Yeah. Jello. I might pivot and bend that corner. Okay, so here are the lyrics. The song is called Tweaker by Jello. I will do my rendition of it. Maybe you guys can turn this into the song. I'm not going to look at the chat because I'll probably laugh. I can't do this. I might swerve. I might swerve. Bend that corner. Whoa. What is this shit? What is this? I might swerve, bend that corner, whoa. Bitch. Bitch, hold on tight because I'll tweak it in this bitch. Start letting shit go. And I'm not going to say the N-word, by the way. That comes up a lot in the song. I'm not going to say that. And I heard she want to show me who she be. I'm kind of fucking with it. Show me some more. Bitch, we tatted head to toe. Could give a fuck, the story wrote. You want to tweak? Get up with me, and I'm going to show how you that go. Like the money in my pockets blow. They having convos about me. I can't say the next part. That's a bad word. These pussy N-word don't know. Tell me what they talking about. I ain't fucking listening. Let your thoughts run your mouth, but ain't touching dividends. I'm not going to say the next part. I ain't from the South, but kick it with my Memphis twin. Can't say the next part. I can't take a loss. I'm always going for the win. For the win. I've been geeked up in this booth. I got my blunt... What? I've been geeked up in this booth. I got my blunt pack for the starter. Don't be acting new. They'll put some holes all through your body. I'm like... oh, these hoses cool. Let them in that if that shit water. Wait, let me say it again. Don't be acting new. They'll put some holes all through your body. I'm like, oh, them hoses cool. Let them in if that shit water. Not going to say that next part. If you spot me, ho, I'm sorry. I can't take you. It get gnarly. Get gnarly. They put in parentheses, I guess, to emphasize that part. Look like you're blank. Want smoke. Well, we going to do this shit regardless. And I started from the bottom just like you, but I was harder. Way harder. I came up a fucking soldier, blank. Shout out to my father. Aha. He made sure I'll make it farther. Aha. My trust in God, Glocks, and dollars. So that's all I'll read. I'm obviously not going to read the other stuff, but so sounds like a great song. Daniel said he's in tears. Richie said help. Alexa said keep it clean. I mean, it's not a clean song. Yeah, Richie said, yeah, I'm not doing that during Black History Month, brother. Exactly. That would not be good. We're not ending the month with that. RJ said, I may die. Yeah, the N-word comes up a lot. A lot of bad words there. Richie said, I'm clipping this and throwing the beat over. You're reciting this. Please, Richie, please do. I think if you have the beat, I don't know. Maybe I can find the beat. Maybe I can try doing that on YouTube. I don't know. I don't want to go back and do it again. I feel like that would ruin it. Richie said, yeah, I can do that. Alexa said, I'm going to get my dad's geeked up. What does geeked up even mean, though? it's I'm trying to... Daniel said, no, we need this as a recurring segment. I think that's not a bad idea. You guys need to give me something. You know what? I'll say this real quick. I was going to leave. We can leave in a minute. If you have another song that you want me to read the lyrics for, that I don't know any of this stuff. I don't even know who Jello Ball is. If you want me to go read lyrics for a song, please recommend it to me in the chat, and I will do it. I'll maybe I'll do it one more time. I can do it one more time before I leave. Yeah, Daniel said, Graham reading rap lyrics. You should read lyrics from songs at the end of every show. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe that can be a chat goal or something, you know? Maybe if we get a certain amount of likes. We have 11 likes right now. Maybe if we can up this to get a... maybe if we can get more likes or something, I can do more songs. Today I'll just throw it. I'll just give it to you. Oh my God. Richie said, I would like to thank Lord William Regal for making this happen. Seriously, you can blame him for that. RJ said, this is painful, but I may die of laughter. RJ said encore. Daniel said encore. Richie said WAP. Oh, I know. I know WAP. I know that one. The Cardi B. You know what? RJ said next week. No, we're going to do it right now because I don't know what next week's going to bring. Hold on. Maybe I can find it real quick. Let me see if I can find it. Instrumental with lyrics. I don't want to kill Mr. Marceau. I need him on Thursday. I'm gonna kill this guy. Well, hold on. All right, I'm pulling up the Cardi B song. Can you hear it? Wait. Oh no, okay, yeah, that's the song. That's the beat. That's not the song. Oh, okay. They blank certain words there. I don't know what I should read here. Read WAP. RJ said, please set like a goal, and this can be your version of Solomon's. Just be the booker. Yes, definitely. That's a good idea. Begin set goals. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, we could start the goals next week, but I'll give you, because you guys were already here. Because you guys are already here, I might just do this one for free. All right. Hold on. So I don't know if you can... I'm going to play this. And before I read off the lyrics, let me know if you can hear this. Because if you can, then I'll read off the lyrics to the karaoke instrumental version. Wait, hold on. Some hoes in this house. I think is how it goes. Is someone... Can you hear that? Can you hear the audio for the song? Because if you can, then I'll go back and play it again. Some hoes in this house? Some hoes in this house? Yeah, we can hear it. Okay. I'll read through the karaoke. All right, hold on. I'll try not to say any bad words here. 3, 2, 1. I said, sir. Hold on. I already know this is going to be bad. Hold on. I said certified freak 7 days a week. Wet ass pussy. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. Okay, so I'm pausing and I'm going back here. I said certified freak 7 days a week. Wet ass pussy. Make that pull-up game week. Woo. Yeah. Use something with some wet ass pussy, I believe. Bring a bucket. What? Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass pussy. Give me everything you got for this wet ass pussy. Beat it up, blank, charge, catch a charge, extra large and extra hard. Put this blank right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top. I want to ride. I do a kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth. Look in my eyes. This pussy is where I come take a dive. Tie me up like I'm surprised. Let's role play or disguise. I want you to park like that big ass Mack truck right in like this little garage. Making what the fuck is this? What is this? Why did you guys make me read this? Why did you make me read this? Let me back up. What the fuck? I want you to park that Big Mac truck. Wait. Hold on. Make it cream, make it scream. Out in public, make a scene. I don't cook, I don't clean. But let me tell you how I got this ring. Gobble up, swallow me, drip down the side of me. Quick jump out for. You'll let it get inside of me. I tell him where to put it, even never tell him where I'm about to be. I'll run down on him for I have a something running me. Talk your shit, bite your lip, ask for a car while you ride that pussy. You really ain't gotta blank him for a thing. He already got his mind made up before he came. Now he got your boots and your coat for this wet ass pussy. I gotta end it there. I don't know if I could do the rest of it. I don't know if I could do the rest of it. Daniel said we can hear it perfectly. Richie, I don't know if I can read it like I'm at a poetry reading because I don't know if that would be possible. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. Fernando said, sing Billie Jean by MJ, LOL. Yeah, maybe next week. Maybe we can save Billie Jean for next week. Daniel said he's howling. Alexis said, oh my God, my boss was talking. Alexis said, oh my God, my boss was talking to me and I'm trying not to laugh. Richie said, there's no way this is happening. And I love 2025. RJ said he's dead. Alexis said, oh, stop now. I feel bad. Richie said, this poor man. Daniel said, this is what's going to take Wrestle Rant to the next level. Reggie said, LMAO, Wrestle Wop. I like that. Wrestle Wop. Wrestle Wop is funny. RJ said the lyrics and Graham just reading it was amazing. Wrestle Wop. Oh my God, I can't. Oh my God, I can't. This is really funny. Really, really funny. Oh my God. Okay. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm dying here. I think we got to get going on that note. I don't know where else the stream is going to go. And it's 2 p.m. Eastern time. Imagine what we would be saying right now if this was 2 a.m. Eastern time when it was the Saturday stream. Maybe we can save that for next time. But thank you for everyone for watching the video. Thank you for everyone for liking the video. Thank you for everyone who sent in the super chats earlier. I appreciate it. Yeah, you got to end it here, big dog. LOL. I don't think we can top that. I think we'll end it there. I think I'm going to get canceled if I keep going. What did RJ text me? Bravo. Amazing. Amazing. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to send in a question to the show every single week, you can do so. Tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post. I usually put them on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And be sure to drop a comment on the comment section on this very video. And I'll include your question in next week's edition, that being in the comment section of the video, not in the stream and in the chat, because I won't be able to see. If it's in the chat, I won't see it. But if it's in the comment section of the video after it's done processing, I will read it. I will read it on next week's show. Fernando said, classic moment right there. Top 10 Wrestle Rant moment. Core memory, Alexis said. Oh my God, yeah. I need to take 5 after that one. Thank you for the recommendation on WAP. Thank you for the recommendation on the Jello Ball song. You learn something new every day. But thank you guys so much for tuning into the show, per usual. I appreciate it. We'll be back on Thursday here on Wrestle Rant Radio with the aforementioned Mr. Marceau. He'll be joining me. I can't promise we'll be singing any lyrics, but we will be back on Thursday to discuss more of what you've been hearing here on the stream here today. Non-singing stuff, all the other stuff I'm talking about. We're talking about Raw and whatnot, Elimination Chamber predictions. I can't promise that we'll be doing any reciting of any lyrics on Thursday. So, man, that was certainly something. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. I think that's it. Have an awesome one, guys. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Enjoy the rest of your week. WrestleWop out.